About underway, Neil, and umpire Kevin Chambers playing his 300th game, or umpiring his 300th today at the Adelaide Oval, Eagles v Norwood. Let's get underway. Ball out of the centre, taken away. Wetherell got it to Wicks. Wicks will have a bounce. He's got plenty of pace, this man. Long kick by Wicks to the square. High ball, knocked to ground, kicked off the ground. Was it a goal or behind? One behind. So an early score to the Double Blues. That ball out of the centre. Timmy Wetherell getting his hands on the football very early, Andrew Rogers, and he will be an important cog in the chain today for Sturt.
He certainly will, and you can see Damien Squire able to sock it off the ground. I spoke about the importance of him. With the 3 tall targets, he's going to be the bloke having to buzz around their feet, trying to kick those goals that they desperately need.
Just waiting for the ball to come into play. Quentin Graham just going short. He's had a blonde rinse put through his head, and Sturt mean business, judging by that little tackle from Marty Matner. He's back from AFL duties. Umpires picked up a free kick, and I think it was against Matner for the late throw into the ground. And as a result, Bello will take the free kick, just assessing the options, not many, so he goes very, very short, maybe 15.1 metres to Simon Arnott.
And they will look to switch the play from here, and they are actually doing that. You see Damien Hicks trying to create space to the grandstand side.
And already Sturt perhaps a little bit more one-on-one than we've seen most of the season. Here's Arnott, comes to this side of the ground at Geister. He'll want his left leg or a hand pass, takes the latter option off to Steinburner. Not much on offer for Steinburner in terms of loose players. Dropping back was dead through the hands. Look out, here come the central runners. Danny Stevens looks up, goes for Shell on the lead easily. Shell drops an easy mark. Well, gee whiz, that wasn't a good finish. It looked like he threw that ball out in the end. Sturt have the numbers this time. Thurston's across to Woosnam. Can't control the ball. In fact, that haircut fooled me. It was actually Dent. Now over the ball is Wetherell. They get it moving eventually sideways. Too slow from Threadgold. He's run down. Here comes Centrals again. Possession just. They work it clear. James Gowan's off the left leg. In the goal square, loose with Shell. Oh, that was spectacular.
And isn't that just the way Centrals play? You can see they put pressure on around the midfield. Eventually the ball's still clear. Shell had actually worked his way back into space. Ball was delivered correctly to him, and he'll get the first shot at goal. He should convert and give Centrals the first goal of the day. Yeah,
that's good news for Centrals. The bad news is that Hopwood's hobbling around on the half-back flank. Really struggling at the moment. Interesting to see if he stays on the deck.
Daniel Shell lines up from perhaps 20 metres, no problems. First goal on the board, first foray forward for Centrals.
And Daniel Shell, a contrasting start for him. He started off dropping a simple chest mark, then takes a very fine mark in his hands, but it was all set up by just the intensity around the foot. You can see here on the replay, eventually the ball spills wide. One of the Gowans just gets it forward, and it's just to the side. You can see the outmatch there of the Sturt opponent versus Daniel Shell. Takes a great grab, just very clean hands, and importantly for Centrals, goes back and nails the goal and gives Centrals a good start.
Early one to Daniel Shell. Terrific start for him. Dropped the mark, but then took a beauty out of the centre. Sturt go forward through Sheedy, only as far as a Raider. Mops it up to Steinburner. Steinburner, the kick. I was looking for Stevens. Over the back, Gowans. That's James, got it to Stevens. That's Danny Stevens. Long kick, they fly. No one can take the mark. Ball spills. James Gowans got it from Chris. Thought he might have held onto the foot. He copped a high tackle. So James Gowans has got it. About 3 kicks out from goal. He'll boot it long. Target up there is the big fella, and he's taken the mark. Terrific mark has been taken by Sibinala. So Sibinala, good cut of a footballer, this fella, Andrew. Looks the part.
Very athletic. Must be doing plenty right to keep Conan Ford. Conan Ford is generally very important to the Central District's lineup. He does straighten them up and give them a tall target. He does compete really well in the forward line. Sibinala's got to do very similar to that today.
Just the 10 games for Sibinala, but I'm sure he'll build on that as his career gathers some momentum, which is exactly what Centrals have this year. Going for 5 on the trot. Sibinala from just inside 50. Good-looking kick off the boot as he just pushed it to the right. I think he has. So one behind to young Sibinala. So Central's looking pretty dangerous when they go forward, Andrew.
It's interesting to see how certain teams come off buys. Certain teams react really well to it. Other teams start really slowly. It seems as though Centrals have worked really hard in their bye and they're working really hard at their intensity level.
Good skills from Sturt as they just chip the ball around at the back. And again, just finding a loose man. This is Cooper. Had 40-odd possessions last week for Sturt against South. And he's a left footer. Takes the long direct option. 50-metre kick up to Burton at the back. Hereda just judged it better. Quickly the hands away to Steinburner. Propped, stopped. Here a player running wide, Sibanela. Sibanela wants to move it quickly.
And when number 35 gets the ball, that will be Michael Stevens, who's just changed out of number 10.
And here's Danny Stevens run down hand pass with one hand, which is of course illegal. And as a result, free kick to Sheedy. He'll take possession for Sturt. They try and run it out now. Sturt's turn. This is Wicks on the wing. Plays on quickly. Like his chances in the McGarry of picking up a few votes too. Does well. Across the top of the pack came Hicks. Couldn't take the mark. Ball on the ground. Hand pass farmed out. And look at that. Across the half-back line. They do it so well. That was an awkward kick by McGowan. Almost set up Gowans. Maloney couldn't stop him, and so they're off and running. And here's Hopwood. He might be hobbling, but he's doing okay. Far side of the ground, Chris Gowans tries to dodge back inside. Mistake brought down. Well done. The Sturt player there. Now, there's a free kick behind play because Gowans didn't appreciate the attention from Whiteman. And as a result, he threw him to the ground. Now Maloney, finally onto his left leg, pressured. That's the result. Scrubbed kick. Still, they go in. Julian Burton over the ball. Umpire says, I'll have it.
While the umpire is having it, we can talk about Tyson Hay, Paul Schooler and Adam Switala, who are all sitting down enjoying the scenery.
Lovely scenery it is too, Michael. A little bit of a shower earlier, but seems to have cleared off. We may get another shower or two, but it's certainly the football, let's hope, will be hot. Ball hits the deck. No one can grab it. James Gowans has been in the thick of it so far. Has missed a few weeks. Really keen to stamp his authority back on the game. Pick those two. Go on. Pick who they are from front on. Andrew Rogers.
They're twins.
Good answer. Ball back into play. White knocked it down. Keisler went without it. Ball spills to ground. James Gowans again. Keisler had his opportunity, but Sturt work it away through Woosnam. Kick forward. Might have been smothered. Hopwood dishes off to Healy. Healy tackled heavily. Ball goes to ground. Wetherill bumped out of the contest. They crash in hard for the footy. Powell was there. Thought he might have got a trip. Umpire said no. Thought he got one behind the ear. Umpire said no. Sheedy tries to get it out. They're just grabbing anyone at the moment. It's pretty physical. Umpire comes in and plucks a free kick out of there. There might have been half a dozen, I reckon. He's plucked the free kick and go to McGowan for the Bullies. Plays it off to Bello and then just gets it back himself. A couple of stats. That's easy to get. Long kick by McGowan. Oh, ill-directed. Whiteman took the mark. Played on. Handball to Maloney. Maloney over the top. Away they go. Short kick. No one can take the mark. Taken by Hopwood. Just seems to have plenty of time. The handball was good to James Gowan to Arnott. Arnott just kicks it inside 50. The spear kick looking for Shell. Shell v Threadgold. He's locked him up in a tackle. Crowd don't like it. In goes Sibanala. Umpire will call for the bounce.
And Chris Threadgold very much got away with one there. Was hanging on very much to Daniel Shell. Umpire didn't quite see it that way. And so luckily for Chris Threadgold, he gets a reprieve.
And the umpire involved in that is TV Tim Pfeiffer, who is doing his 250th game today.
Well, Central's worked the set play fairly well. It ends with Sibanala, chance for a goal. The snap was astray, well out to the right. Wait on the umpire. I think it will register a score. It does. So Central's 1-2-8. Sturt just the one behind so far.
I think importantly for Sturt, they've only been inside 50 once. Centrals have really got control of the midfield so far. They're going to have to work really hard, and every time the Sturt get it, you can see the amount of pressure that the Centrals on ballers are actually putting on them.
Threadgold goes to Dent, and Dent would like to have that little opportunity back again. Horrible kick, out of bounds on the full. Not too happy with it there. Dent, short kick by Stephen, spots up Arnott. Now Arnott will go with a long boot, looking for Shell. He leaps, knocks the ball away. Whiteman, good play. They work it out. Maloney gets it to Threadgold. Just a couple of steps, short kick by Threadgold, just looking for the boundary. Matner can't haul it in, out of bounds.
And under siege down in the Sturt defence so far, Chris Threadgold has got his hands full already with Daniel Shell. We saw Daniel Shell kick 7 goals on him here at Elizabeth early in the year. So you just wonder about the mental aspect of the game with Chris Threadgold.
Conway, good tap down to Cooper. Cooper puts the head down. And umpire Pfeiffer adjudicates a bounce.
And Centrals really are the king of the takeaways from the clearances here. You'll see the Gowans work well together. I wouldn't be surprised if they take this one away. I think so far today they've been more than matched Sturt in the takeaways from the centre bounces, from the boundary throw-ins around the ground. And Sturt really need to, in that area, be at their best.
Yes, blood rule here for Seamus Maloney. You'll see him jogging off. So one of the sitters for Sturt will come on. Looks like that will be Brent Riley. He has left the company of Simon Feast and Xavier Campbell, who also started on the bench.
James Gowan's making himself popular with the Sturt boys by indicating to the umpire that blood was coming from some part of the face of Maloney. So we'll get the bounce eventually. Gone 10, nearly 11 minutes in the game, and Centrals by 7 points. Second man up was Healy. Sturt work it away, they do it well. Here's Cooper on his natural leg. The left foot goes too far for Burton. As a result, here comes a Raider. No problems for him. Tidies up. The hand pass. Burton, great tackle he had. Hopwood, and then he let him go. So Hopwood gets it back towards half forward. Big leap at the front, almost a mark to Dent. Now Sturt try and tidy up. The hand pass out the back, and Powell will take the free kick. Just got one a little too high. Powell has a player short and wide. And in fact, too much carry in the end for Cooper. He's been prominent early, out of bounds on the far side of the ground.
And Neil, we spoke as we get a look on replay. It's a great jump in the air by Dent. They really haven't kicked it well to Julian Burton so far. They've kicked it over his head, and it's really made Brian O'Reilly's job a lot easier. They need to put the ball out in front and let Julian Burton make his own pace into the footy.
And haven't been inside 50 too much. I think Sturt may have gone in once or twice, Moggy.
That's right, just the very first time of the game. Central's been in 6 times.
So Centrals really have carried that football pretty well. And that half back line, Hopwood playing extremely good football. Harada has been terrific back there. So the ball not coming in the way the Sturt forwards would like it. Conway, bad bounce by the umpire, thumped away by Powell, very close to the boundary. Bello can't quite keep it in. The rinse through the hair too, young Marco Bello's got a bit of a different hair shade today.
It's a bit late for McGarry medal votes in the last round, you'd think, wouldn't it, Mike?
It could be crucial, you never know.
And who knows what the umpires look at. Hopefully look at the football. Away it comes. Free kick will go to Sturt. Or did it go to Centrals before that? Nick Dent's got the free kick for a high tackle. The umpire says come back 25, James.
Yes, well done. Well picked.
Yes, I think that's...
It is Chris Gowans has got the bandages on the arm because of the nail gun.
Thanks for that, Neil. I'll watch for that. He kicks up forward, but Hopwood, ever reliable. Underrated footballer, Hopwood. Certainly is. Decides to come broadcast side of the ground, but Keisler can't take the mark. Ball spills to ground. Steinberner's got to work overtime. Locked up. Umpire said, give it to me.
Nathan Steinberner did a really good job there. The kick certainly didn't favour him. He was able to at least make a contest. But once again, you see Hopwood get back in space in front of the leading forward. They need to use Heath Hopgood's man to make him accountable.
Free kick to Chris Gowans at half back for the Bulldogs. A high tackle. Squire the man, I think, laying that one. 13.5 minutes gone as Gowans decides to switch play, outer side of the ground. Arnott's got it, just waits for a man to come available over the top, decides to kick now. Not a good one, or is it? Yes, Healy's got it. Just forward of the wing, Daniel Healy gets it across to Hopwood. Handball over the top, looking for Stevens, wearing number 35 at the moment. Michael Stevens has one bounce, looks inside 50, good kick. Fred Gold equal to the task on Shell. Ball spills, Whiteman does a pretty good job. Woosnam, who goes to Dent, so the Sturt back line, second in the comp. Dent caught with the football, got it to Woosnam. Woosnam loads it up, long ball, up they go. Chambers can't quite hold on. Ball spills to Deck. Matner gets it to Wetherill. He's got a lead from White. White in space, will stretch and get there.
Well, that's exactly the kick there from Tim Wetherill that I'm looking for Julian Burton at centre half forward. It doesn't have to be a pinpoint kick. It's just put beautifully out in space out in front of him, enabled Stephen White to make his own pace into the footy. Not too much the Central District defenders can do about that.
14.5 minutes gone, no goal so far to Sturt. So Stephen White lining up, good looking kick right behind that, draws it right to left. Good kick by the big man. They get there first at the 14, nearly 15 minute mark.
And importantly, Central Districts have controlled most of the play here. early up to the 15-minute mark of this first quarter. And now Sturt get clean delivery from half forward. You see Stephen White out on the lead. Just kicked out in spade beautifully by Tim Weatherall. And importantly, he went back and nailed the goal. Now, they're only a point down. The Centrals really have controlled this first 15 minutes.
And the midfield rotation that we've come to know from Centrals has started already, with Adam Switala coming on for a little displeased James Gown.
Very much one-on-one so far this contest. Sturt get the ball forward. They've had 2 takeaways from the bouncers in the middle. Here's Burton, ropes the pack nicely from 51 metres. Great result. Double Blues hit back with 2 in a row.
And importantly, got the ball out of the middle. Now, at the start of the day, I thought Sturt would have an advantage in the midfield through the ruckman, through Conway and Feast. Now, Simon Feast is actually sitting down. See Damien Squire just makes a contest in front. Julian Burton goes front and centre. Brian Arata goes to the back of the pack. So Julian Burton gets a reward for his honesty and his discipline for going to the front. Well shepherded through by Stephen White. And all of a sudden, all the good work that Centrals did in the first 15 minutes has been undone by 2 quick goals from Sturt.
All of 30 seconds for the Double Blues to pop that one through just outside 50, Julian Burton. So he certainly tested the osteitis pubis there.
And what that does is makes Brian Arata more accountable now. He realises he's had a really good start. Julian Burton kicks a goal on him. Now Brian Arata has to give him some more respect.
Ball back in the centre. Kaiser was the man who got it out a moment ago. He got it to Sheedy. Sheedy's kick was partially smothered. Matner. In goes Squire. Squire got it to Sheedy. High ball. White is there. Geister. Ball knocked away by Hicks. Weatherall ridden into the ground. Free kick. Push in the back. I think it was there. Timmy Weatherall will take the free kick. 25 metres out, slight angle, and a chance for another goal to the Double Blues.
And once again, they got the ball out of the middle through Conway getting the ball forward. Good hands in tight coming through the centre. And unfortunately for Quinton Graham, he didn't drop to his knees. He continued to roll over the top of Weatherall. Weatherall's momentum took him forward. What you need to do there is drop to your knees and actually pull backwards so you don't go over the top.
Perfect look at this. There's the side-on view of Timmy Weatherall. Kick for goal. Well, they don't get too much straighter than that. So another goal to the Double Blues at the 17.5-minute mark. Timmy Weatherall gets his first.
And the game changes all of a sudden. Centrals, as I said, had most of the control early. Sturt through 2 forays forward, or the last 3 foray forwards, get good result from going forward. You can see there just Stephen White creating the contest. Tim Weatherall trying to get the ball over the top. Gets ridden into the ground, and importantly for Sturt, goes back and kicks a goal and just casts some doubts in Central's mind and gives Sturt some sort of belief that, look, they're not as good as what they think they are.
Central's been beaten out of the middle the last 2 times. Damien Arnold, you can't do that. Sit down, son. Paul Schooler has come on to take the rucking duties, and he's done just as poorly.
Well, in terms of end results, though, it's actually a better one. At least it's out of bounds and not down in the goal square. So Sturt have gone forward again. That time it was Sheedy.
Sturt have won all 5 centre breaks and leading the hit-out 7-3.
Start in that area for the Double Blues. They'll need to pressure all day. Feast goes against Schooler. Feast beaten that time, but look at the gang tackle from his men on the ground. Squire was involved and 2 others.
You can see Sturt growing in confidence. Early on, it was the Centrals players that were actually gang tackling. All of a sudden, Sturt are the team that are gang tackling. Their enthusiasm, they're on the up at the moment. Centrals need to respond.
Grant Chambers doing his best to intimidate, and Feast this time slams Central's opponent McGowan into the ground.
And Simon Feast has done a good job. He's just laid a tackle and rushed over and sat down, because there he is sitting on the bench.
Chambers over the top. And another bounce down. Must have been Chambers that laid the tackle. They're all baldies, Michael.
We'll let you off. Yeah, we'll let you off.
And Centrals, of course, will try to slow the game down now. They're quite happy to do this, just to take away all the momentum that Sturt have got at the moment. They'll just play this out here for 5 minutes if they can.
Well, they've succeeded getting it over the line. Kaesler, just given a little shove there by Daniel Healy.
And you just diffuse the run on that Sturt have got at the moment. They've kicked the last 3 goals. Certainly are playing, got confident. Just see if we can just play one-on-one footy for a little while.
Oh, good work from Squire in close. Got it up towards Burton. Well done. Reward for playing in front and reward for Squire's clever work in close.
Certainly was. I mean, under all sorts of pressure, just gets his foot to the footy, and you can see a change has already been made there. Damien Hicks is now picking up Julian Burton. So a good win there for the Sturt coaching team. And importantly now, Julian Burton needs to go back and kick this goal and just maintain this momentum.
Burton already has one. And now he has two. And Sturt has a 17-point lead.
And importantly for Sturt, you can hear there was a ripple of applause that goes around the ground. They have silenced the Elizabeth faithful here early. So you can see Stephen White tries to get the ball out of the ruck. Damien Squire just gets his foot to the ball and just playing in front, just walking his way to the front. Damien Hicks needs to learn from that, just to play in front. The ball goes over the back. Generally, you've got a teammate for support. Importantly, Julian Burton goes back, kicks the goal, and maintains this nice advantage that Sturt had opened up.
All important, being able to kick accurately, particularly against Central Districts. They'll hurt you on the rebound if you do happen to kick behinds. They run the footy out extremely well. Back in the centre, Schooler got the better of that one. Down to ground, McGowan thought he might have thrown it out. Arnott leads it, Sheedy, Parada bounced off his chest. Maloney got a toe poke toward half forward. Burton to kick the last goal. Important touch in there. Away goes Sheedy. Just wait for it to sit. Casler just goes for the boundary. Good play, just found it. Bit of push and shove. And the umpire says, well, a free kick to James Gowans, is it?
Yeah, there's a little slap around the face there by Chambers, and ever the antagonist, they get the reward.
Works on the win some, lose some theory, James Gowans to Arnott. Puts it away, Stevens, long kick, looking for, not finding a teammate there, and Sivanala. Ball hits the deck, umpire blows the whistle, locked up, will have a bounce.
And it's those type of indiscretions. You now see the ball was deep in the Sturt attacking line. You now see it at half forward for Centrals. That would disappoint Brenton Phillips.
Conway against Schooler. Comes back, Stevens tries to belt it. Nobody can get clean position. Still it's on the ground. Here's Schooler. Finally, Danny Stevens comes out to Chris Gowans off the left leg, in long, over the back. Sivanala couldn't control it. Maloney came through, hand pass towards Dent. Dent in turn. Well, they've got players lined up if Powell could get them on the way, but he couldn't. James Gowans pushed off his kick, and the attempt to go over the line in the end was Seamus Maloney. Sturt had 3 or 4 players around that 50 arc, just saying, give it to me.
And Seamus Maloney shows his experience here. Look, we've just entered time on. We have got a bit of a run on. Let's not give Centrals anything, just as we enter time on.
Still, nobody, neither of the ruckmen, or they took each other out of the play. So Sturt battling hard. Here's Stevens over the ball, taken to ground. 17 points the margin, 23-minute mark, opening term at Elizabeth. Just waiting on yet another bounce. There's Conway, and over the top came Chris Gowans. Now Thurston's, good hand pass through traffic. In the end, didn't succeed. I thought he was going for the line, but he didn't succeed. The Stevens boys work it. Now McGowan, tackled as he took it. Wicks works hard for Sturt, gets to the front, little hand pass, Burton can't pick it up, he'll work it towards the line, you'd think. That was the direction he was going, and finally he just gives Herrera a shove. And the umpires deem that's okay, throw it in, the crowd is involved, no doubt about that.
Boundary throw in. Getting close to 24 minutes gone, first term. So Sturt, after a bit of a slow start, have really peeled off 4 goals, unanswered goals. After Central's got the first one, taken by Arnott. Arnott's screw kick, Woosnam couldn't take it, on hands and knees. Might get ping, ball caught underneath, Stevens goes in hard. That's Michael Stevens. As James Gowan says, come on umpires, just ping them if they're sitting under the football and hatching it.
And an important last 5 minutes here, Michael. It's really important they just finish this game off really well.
Certainly is, and Sturt, the last thing they would want is for Centrals to get a late goal. Try and get one themselves. Woosnam thought to get the best of that, taken by Ricky McGowan. Tumbling ball, Powell's there, in front of Slade, just works the footy in. Away they go, Squire, the handball out. Woosnam normally does something constructive with it, looks for, can't find Burton. Oh, the punch over the top was good by the Centrals defender in Hopwood. And the ball beats Matner right in front of the interchange bench. There's Marty Matner. Bit of a revelation this year for the Adelaide Crows. Probably find himself a bit unlucky to be out of the side at the minute.
And Heath Hopgood really is a complete half-back for Central Districts. He can certainly run the ball down and create plenty of opportunities for his forward. But you can see he'll do a lot of courageous things as well.
Central's just clear it out of that area towards the wing. Here comes Slade, met by Whiteman. Now Sturt gets in over the ball. Powell, one of those players. Good matchup, Powell and Slade. Powell's done pretty well so far because Matty Slade is quite a talent.
He certainly is. He's sort of gone off the boil a little bit here late in the year, certainly early in the year. He was one of the very hot players in the competition. Just late in the year, probably since the state game, similar to Jade Sheedy. Just hasn't been quite the same impact on games.
Schooler, great tap, McGowan. Didn't just read that, it was probably in the playbook. Sibanala couldn't take it. Opportunity for Slade, pulled down by Powell. Umpire says it's in the back. Well, I thought he'd done very well then for the umpire. In his 250th game, Tim Pfeiffer ruling that was in the back. Let's have another look. Andrew.
And similar consistency to what we saw against Tim Weatherall. Once again, the player needs to drop to his knees and pull back. Slade's got all his momentum going forward, so the only place he's ever going to fall is forward, so you need to drop to your knees and pull back. And Matthew Slade gets an all-important opportunity here just to bridge his gap deep into time on.
Well, let's see what he does with it. He kicks it very straight, very accurately. I must say, I thought that Powell had done a pretty good job of trying to turn Slade in the tackle, but the umpire still said it was in the back. That's what counts, and Centrals have their second goal on the board at the 26-minute mark, having scored the opening goal at the 2-minute mark.
And once again, it's a takeaway from a contest. Goes forward, so Billy just creating the contest. Slade reads it better over the back. Powell's done everything right as a defender, but unfortunately, he just carried his momentum forward. Umpire had no hesitation in playing the free kick. Importantly, went back and nailed the goal for Centrals. So Centrals have really fought their way back just late in this first quarter.
Back to 11 points. Bello, chance for another couple of goals. James Gowns gets it towards his brother Chris. Couldn't handle the footy. In goes McGowan. Got it to Danny Stevens. Rare fumble. Goes to the kick off the ground. Umpire blows his whistle and gives a free kick against Danny Stevens for, well, it looked like kicking in danger. I think that was the result of that. Dent goes to Wicks. Weatherall just burns off Schooler. His kick under pressure to the outer side, looking for Chambers. In goes the man for Central Districts there in Graham. Goes the handball across. Ball's paddled away. So Hicks is kicking up forward, looking for Stevens, but can't find him. Ball out of bounds.
And I think importantly for Sturt there, Tim Weatherall actually went wide to the half-forward flank. The success they had in the middle part of this quarter was actually getting the ball out of the middle and going direct to the goal face. So I'd much prefer him to go more directly towards goal.
Maloney went to leap and ended up hitting him on the noggin. There goes Chris Gowans. Just takes his opponent out of bounds, but the umpire might have blown the whistle just prior to that. It's Dean Woosnam. And we're going to have a bounce, I think, on that outer side. So a late goal to Central Districts at the 26.5-minute mark. Close the gap to 11 points. Dent will kick around the corner. Kick blind, really. Mark taken by Arnott. Matner locks him up, lets him go now. Arnott does the spin. Shouldn't be too much more time left in the quarter. Well done by Maloney. Healy just kept it alive. Got it to Gowans. Gowans tackled a bit high. Right on the siren. And Chris Gowans will shoot for goal. Right on the quarter-time siren to drag the deficit back to just 5 points after you would have thought Sturt had pretty much the better part of that second half of the quarter, Andrew.
They certainly did. From about the 15-minute mark, they actually controlled the play for about 7 or 8 minutes there and put Centrals under real pressure. Centrals, to their credit, have been able to turn this around and have the momentum late in the quarter. Chris Gowans with an all-important shot for goal. Might just struggle for distance. Just kicking from just on the 50-metre line. So, importantly for Sturt, they've pushed a lot of tall timber back, and with any luck, they might get a touch right on the line.
Very skilled player, Chris Gowans. You would think that he'll go pretty close from here, don't you worry? And I suppose the thing that worries Sturt is the last 2 goals, if he does kick this, will come from free kicks. And that is a little bit unfortunate for the Double Blues, as Chris Gowans prepares. He'll kick right on 50. It's not looking too good off the boot. I think it's going to fall short. They thump it down. So it's quarter time. And in a quarter, Andrew, I thought where Sturt probably held the ascendancy.
They certainly did. Central's really dominated the first 15 minutes. but didn't get reward for their forays as they went forward. Thought Sturt really, the tall timber up forward, worried the Central District's defenders, and they got the benefit and they got the most out of their forays forward. I think Brenton Phillips would be really happy with this first quarter. He certainly has silenced the Elizabeth faithful, and he's put some doubts in the mind of the Central District's players that maybe we're not as good as what you know, we have been going lately. And so Sturt have done everything right, and they've set themselves up here perfectly to maybe cause an upset today.
Good start to this round 23 match, Sturt v Centrals, but at quarter time it is Sturt 4-1-25, 11 points over the District's 14. Let's see how the players handled it in this quarter. Ball kicked off the ground. Slade didn't take the mark. It is slippery out there and got very slippery very quickly. Feaster's on the ground for Sturt. Bello, he tried to kick it off the ground. Stevens is back in his number 10 Guernsey for the Bulldogs. He dives on the footy, outer side of the ground. Wetherell, there'll be plenty of ball ups in this quarter, you would think. We'll just get another one now, outer side of the ground. So no score to either side, just ticked into 35 seconds. And the umpire, yes, there it is. Dedication, dedicated supporters. A couple of kids and mum under the umbrella. Terrific. They wouldn't be thinking all that good about it at the moment, but they're at the footy at least, following their team. Ball kicked by Bello. They dive on the footy. It might have been Dent. In goes Graham. Umpire says, you've hatched it. It'll go against the double blues. It'll go to Big Graham. They just waited for the opportunity. Ball tucked underneath. Matthew Dent, the culprit.
So I think that's important, Michael. They actually do ping those because the players do it really well. And then what happens is one of their fellow players dives on top of them and tries to hold the ball in the air. The umpire is hesitant to ping him.
Well, Graham's kick wasn't too good. It allows the double blues to go forward. Kick by Sheedy. Hay is on the ground for the Bulldogs. Just sees it out of bounds. Just in front of Damien Squire. The rain's still tumbling down. And just having a look out there, it doesn't look like it's going to subside. There's the bench for Central Districts. Boys there just waiting for their opportunity to get back and get an opportunity to get wet, I suppose, Andrew Rogers.
And I think importantly is that players need to adjust to the conditions really quickly. If you haven't got the correct footwear, I suggest you go and get the screw-ins on pretty quickly.
Boundary throw in. Arnold and Burton. Arnold got the best of that, just knocked it down. Burton, second effort was good, ball's out of bounds once again on the outer side. So well, that's where we'll see most of the play, you would think, in this quarter.
I'd suggest so. This might well work in Central District's favour because with Sturt playing tall up forward, Julian Burton, Stephen White, Chambers, etc., it's going to negate their influence, and certainly the ball's going to be on the ground a lot more.
Over the top, Sheedy came. Didn't really help out his teammates. Certainly not the one whose head he sat on. That's better from Sturt. They just scrambled the ball forward, but sitting in the hole there, out in front of Matner was Hopwood. Now to this side of the ground, he comes with Hicks. Hicks will look up and he won't see much on offer here, and Maloney does well, gets to the front, and even better was Arnott coming over the top.
And the Central District system switch to play every time. You can see from the outer back pocket, they've switched to play to the grandstand side, just looking for space. All their players break into that space, looking for a quick getaway.
Well, Simon Feast, very acrobatic but ineffective job there in the ruck, and I'm sure that was Simon Feast this time. Here he is, off the left leg, just tries to get it forward, Arnott in the way. Good skills, controlled it, Healy. He was going to hand that ball out somewhere else, and in the end he gave it to Steinburner, who couldn't control it. Now it's on the ground again. Whiteman soccers it, Slade, lucky, off to Healy. Healy's got plenty of space to work in. He goes, well, not very well and not very accurately. Umpires called it as touch, play on. Now a loose hand blast coming across from Dent. He's put his teammate Woosnam under pressure from James Gowans. Woosnam soccers towards the line. That's clearly what he intended. Now Dent comes in again. Goes down the line and out of bounds. Disguised that very well, but his intent was clear.
And both teams are really guilty of overuse of the footy. I mean, it's raining, it's wet, the ball's going to be slippery. both teams tried to work it around with the handballs, as I said in the quarter-time break. Let's get the ball forward at any cost.
Well, the ball comes in again. Here's Slade, busy to start the second turn. Wicks, line turn, didn't work. Gowans tries the same thing. Also, same result, didn't work, ball out of bounds.
And it's not the time to be, flicking it around entitled. If you get the opportunity, get it on your boot, get it going our way so we can gain 50 metres our way, so it's further away from our opposition's goal.
Ball about to be brought in. Simonala and Feast over the back. Thurstons. I think Graham might have got a bit of that as well. Weatherall went without it. Whiteman locked up by Bello. Umpire crosses the arms. Another bounce. 4.5 minutes gone. Sturt for 125. Central's 2-2-14. Important game this. Perhaps a psychological advantage going into the finals with Sturt if they get a win, knowing they can beat Centrals. Cooper out to Wicks. Goes to Kaysler. And away goes Thurstons. Thurstons goes with a thumping long kick off the side of the boot though. Ball will skid. Hicks is leading in the race. White dives acrobatically, knocked it forward. Chambers was there. Geister sees it out of bounds. Throw it back in. 5 minutes gone. There's the Sturt bench.
Slade sitting there.
Conway, is it? Big Mark Conway?
Correct, along with Xavier Campbell and Brendan.
5 minutes into the second term. Sturt, 11-point lead. Just get the ball forward slightly again. Squire taken to ground by Hay, but no free kick. Umpire eventually will be called on to throw the ball in.
And I think importantly for Sturt, with this foray they went forward there, they kept bringing the ball back inside, so they negated the wide flanks here at Elizabeth. They went straight down the middle, and of course it's a shorter way home than going around the flanks.
Certainly a lesson they'll have to learn, given the finals are at, of course, Footy Park, and the preliminary final, of course, at the Adelaide Oval. Here's Hicks. Just looks up, didn't see much on offer, so he went as wide as he could, and perhaps a little bit wider than he wanted to go. So out of bounds on the full. Here's Woosnam with the free kick for Sturt. Double Blues will go back forward. Woosnam hugs the flank. Matna, big leap, takes a chest mark. Well done. He'll want his left leg, comes inside from 65 metres, drives it up towards goal. Off the back, well read by one Squire. Couldn't get the hand pass across. Sitting there was Chambers looking for the ball, and the Central's defenders get it over the line.
And Matna actually went to the pocket there. Should really try to kick it more to the top of the square. As I said, the ball is going to be slippery, so just continue doing that.
And Matna just running away from the area, and he crashed into Hopwood, who's received a free kick. I didn't see the real beginnings of that, anyone?
Yeah, it's about 3 flops in a row, I would think.
I didn't think there was much in it, but anyway, he got the free kick, and now Central's working to this side of the ground, as is their want. Healy, strong mark. Whiteman put the pressure on him. Healy, again the flop. This time not rewarded. Just see. Well,
so that's the initial contact there, and we just didn't catch it on the replay there. Matna went back to Hopwood. Unfortunately, the umpire saw the second transgression there.
Yeah, very interesting. So he's breaking. Centrals, they have an opportunity with Slade. Slade over the top, Graham. He's good on both sides. He wants to go to the middle. He's almost shut down. Now he straightens. Opportunity for a goal. Quinton Graham. Wait on the umpire. Minor score. Hit the post, in fact.
And of course, goals have begun to become a premium in this second quarter with wet conditions. Of course, the game doesn't flow as well. So Quinton Graham had a really good opportunity there. Unfortunately, unable to nail it.
Threadgold got it to Woosnam. Woosnam's got a man in Wicks on his own, and Wicks takes the mark, quickly closed down by Danny Stevens, holding on. Wicks has been a tremendous player this year for Sturt, provided some pace and ball carry for them all year, just what Brent Phillips is trying to drum into the side. Kick to a contest, and Arnold takes the mark. Poor kick by Wicks, poor decision. Arnold gets a 25-metre penalty, and who was that against? Maybe Martin Madner again.
And it was a poor kick there, Mike. He kicked it straight to Arnold playing on the back plate. Simon Feast is playing a kick behind the play down to the Central District's defence. And of course, he kicked it straight to Damien Arnold. They've got to look for another avenue past Arnold.
Arnold goes short to Hopwood, and Hopwood loves to go forward, kicks it long. Graham at the front, can't take the mark, ball spills to ground. Bello somehow got it to Gowans. Gowans short kick to the run of Arnold. Arnott paddles forward. Here's Sibanala. Thought he might have copped one high. Umpire's going to ping him no. Just thought he might have copped one across the left ear there. The umpire said, play on. We'll have a bounce.
Get a look on the replay here. Not too much in that. I think the umpires, free kicks are going to become a scarcity in this second quarter.
Thurston's belts it toward the line. Sheedy sees it over. And we'll have a throw-in.
It's been very busy too, Jade Sheedy, doing at both ends, and has continued his good form.
Big pack of potential ruckmen. In the end, it came to Cooper. Belts it on the left foot. Burton's underneath it from behind. Well, nobody got a touch in the end, but Herrera tried to harass him. Now it's over the line, is it? It's very close. Picked up by Damien Arnold, carried across, so he'll have a set-up.
Good work there by Martin Matner, creating a contest, then going in second and third efforts. That's his value to this Sturt side, to hold the ball in the area.
Bello just makes way for Ricky McGowan, who slipped onto the ground during that throwing.
Just overusing the ball, Sturt, as Chris Gowans goes forward from Jade Sheedy's mistake. The hand pass went out when it wasn't necessary. Holding on rule. It's gone Sturt's way. Well, I must say there was a hint of expectation in the crowd of, okay, which way is the umpire going to pull this one? And, well...
How do you pick a free for that?
I tell you what, you see players grab a fistful of Guernsey and wonder why it's not penalised, but in that case, you really couldn't see anybody holding on as such. Never mind, it's out of bounds at half forward for Centrals, and the scoreboard reads a 10-point margin in favour of the Double Blues.
And Neil, that went out of bounds off Michael Stevens, who has returned to his favourite number 10 jumper after not being on the original team sheets and had to change it halfway through that first quarter.
Free kick to James Gowans. He finally gets one. The crowd love it. Had a few against them, the Gowans boys, this year. He has got it. So looking for his options as Sturt flood back into their defensive 50. Doesn't quite know where to go. Lots of arms around. Goes short to Arnott. Arnott's got Graham on short. He'll go to him now. Takes the mark. 45 metres out from goal. He decides to go short to Healy. Now Healy will have a pot shot for goal. Good looking kick, Daniel Healy. Well, they just worked it around in Centrals. Waited for something to open up. The designated kicker was the skipper Healy, and he threaded it home.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Sturt, though, they actually flooded back and guarded a space. What happens is Central eventually work it forward, and Daniel Healy, instigated by Peter Jonas many years ago, is a designated kicker. So if you can't make the distance, when they've got Stuart Dew available here, he's another designated kicker. They look for those two players who can kick long distances, and eventually they work it well forward. And Daniel Healy many times has converted from outside 50 and beyond.
First goal of the second quarter goes to the Bulldogs, and the margin back to 4 points. Whiteman did well, socketed off the ground. Chris Gowans having a Tate in the middle with Whiteman. In fact, it's Weatherall, but we'll come back to that in a moment. It's Sturt clearing their defensive area. Stevens carries the ball across the line for Centrals. As Chris Gowans getting well acquainted with Weatherall in the middle of the ground. Now we're at a boundary throw in at half forward for Centrals. Feast did well, got it down to Weatherall. Still in dispute on the ground. Cooper just towed it forward. Is Burton coming and meeting it, and in the end, Julian Burton wasn't too interested in being able to go sideways. The fence took a pounding there and actually bent back quite a way.
And Matthew Cooper, exactly what needs to be done there. If the ball's wet, just soccer it forward, get it going forward at any cost.
They come again. Across comes Maloney. Just got it forward. Arnott taking the ground. Whiteman with the quick kick out of the pack, sitting back in the space again. Centrals able to capitalise through Switala. Spent a couple of years on the rookie list for Essendon. Comes wide. Great kick. Simon Arnott. And then they're called Bickies. Pretty obvious that one, isn't it? Just inside, and they take their time, and Hopwood trying to milk. Now he goes across to Hay. Stretching to get there was Squire, potentially, no, I thought maybe a 25 that time. Now Hay off on his left leg, long, strong delivery, looking for Shell, doesn't get that far. The punch came from the Sturt defenders and they get it wide. And, oh, Squire just took too long. Closed down by Hay. Now Hicks, forward of the play. Hicks's kick wasn't the best. Out of bounds, is it? Oh, gee, this ground is a wide one, isn't it? Threadgold picked it up. handballed it down the line. Body's going everywhere. Nobody able to get clean possession. Umpire just lets it go. Finally, I think it was Quinton Graham got a kick out of there. Chris Gowans takes the mark just outside the forward 50. Swings around, slips. Umpire calls play on. Kick smothered. Gowans has another crack at it. Gives it to his brother, who then drops it. Chris Gowans, third possession in a couple of minutes. And they work it to this side of the ground. Danny Stevens takes the ball. Michael Stevens, I should say, gets it up long. The punch comes from the Sturt defender. Threat goal. Still, it's not out of bounds. It comes back to Slade. This should be a goal. Yes. Boy, the Bulldogs worked hard.
They certainly did. They persisted, they persisted, they persisted. The ball was dead on the outer side there on the half-forward flank. They just kept it in, kept working it forward. Eventually it came to the Gowan, to one of the Gowans twins. They worked it out between them. You see here on the replay, the ball luckily stayed in. They worked well together. A missed tackle there by Dean Woosnam, which wouldn't please Brenton Phillips. But Slade finishes with his second for the day.
Just a quick weather update. We spoke before the game that there was no wind, but it was forecast. Well, it has drifted in and favouring the end to which Sturt are kicking by probably 2 or 3 goals through this second quarter.
2-point lead to Centrals after Sturt had really stunned them. I think Centrals led at the 3-minute mark of that first term, but it's been all Sturt since then. Centrals getting their game back in together. Keisler got it. Squire on the right boot. Hereda clean bowled him and Hicks. Will it go past Chambers? No. Lays it off to Burton. Burton with brute strength to Matner. Great tackle for Tala. White went through without the footy. They dive on it. Hereda, no free kick. In goes Burton again. White on the periphery. And umpire calls for it.
I asked a question at quarter time whether Sturt could maintain their intensity for 4 quarters, and I think they've just dropped away a little bit here at the moment, and Centrals have certainly increased this and responded to Alistair Clarkson's challenge at quarter time.
They've done that. That is right, and it's since that rain has been falling, so Central's liking the slippery conditions, maybe Sturt not. Ball tapped away. Geister will see it to the line. So Centrals lead by 2 points. So Matty Slade kicking his second goal just a moment ago to put them back in front. Good crowd.
A stat that would please you, Andrew, this quarter. Centrals have had 33 kicks and just 11 handballs.
Certainly they've adapted better to the conditions than what Sturt have.
They have. Slippery ball. Hopwood, can he reel it in? No. Oh, and Weatherall gives him a short, sharp shift, and that doesn't excite too many of the Bulldogs players, that is for sure. As that's Swatala who went head first into it, and they're having a bit of a Donnybrook here.
I think it's Heath Hopwood that's actually down.
Is that Hopwood, is it?
Now, importantly, that no one does anything stupid here. You've got finals coming up. The game is really irrelevant to what's going to happen as far as the premiership table is concerned. So if anyone to swing one today and get reported, I think would very much earn the wrath of their coach.
Well, meanwhile, Hopwood has a cut, as we just saw there on the head. We'll get another look at it as soon as we get an opportunity. There is a free kick. That kick, I think, came from the free kick awarded to Hopwood, which was taken by Geister. He kicked it out of bounds on the full. Now it's Burton looking to go back inside 50. And they're a man down up there, or they should be. They're just waiting for the ball to come in. Gowan's forcing his way against the tide. And the umpire will call for a bounce. And they're a little bit heated at the moment just down there, and we'll have another look now. Here's our opportunity with Weatherall just forcing Hopwood over into the boundary. Fence and crunch. Sounded every bit like a Formula One car going in at speed. The slippery conditions not helping. Here's Hereda, tries to break a tackle, well met, socket off the ground. Burton, I think it was, but Geister intercepts it and gets it out to the far side of the ground. And McGowan takes the mark.
McGowan half back for Centrals, chips it short, finds Healy. Cooper the man on the mark, so Centrals really have started to get some ascendancy in this game. They're in their defensive half at the moment. Healy goes with a long bomb right down the line. Thurston's flew, in fact it was Feast and Thurston's, and the ball is out of bounds.
They certainly know how to absorb pressure, don't they, Centrals? I mean, Sturt put a lot of pressure on them early. And, you know, really had a good patch of the game there in the first quarter. Centrals have absorbed Sturt's best and now throwing back their best at them.
And the first weather casualty of the day, Stephen White, a little bit too big for the conditions, according to coach Brenton Phillips. He'll sit down and replaced by the smaller and closer to the ground, Brent Riley.
Well, they haven't been able to get that ball down quickly enough to Burton or White, so maybe they're just going to chip it up and just try and force it forward, so some quicker lower to the ground players is probably a good move. Feast will get a free kick, being held in the ruck contest by Arnold, just slung him away. So big Simon Feast, the ex-Sydney Swan, just deals with, it's like James Gowans there. Away goes Feast. Good kick. Weatherall couldn't take the mark. Taken by Hicks. Hicks off one step. Looking for Steinburner. He'll fly. Chris Gowans couldn't get it. Wicks. Ball spills out to Sheedy. Now Sheedy's got Feast. Feast will lay it off by hand. They need to kick it. They're the most handballs in the competition. Keisler, horrible kick, finds the boundary. Looking for Matner. So overuse of the footy by hand.
And especially just the decision-making there by Keisler. Rather than go deep into the pocket, if you do miss the kick, it's going to go out of bounds. Look, put some real pressure on the Central District defenders. Kick it somewhere near the top of the square so that's a lot more predictable and give your forwards a better opportunity.
Well, both ruckmen in that situation, Burton and Arnold negating each other, the two number 5s. Umpire comes in.
And we see the advantage of Damien Hicks and how valuable he is to Central. He can play on a taller opponent like Stephen White, but he can also pick up a smaller opponent like Brent Riley, so he's very valuable to this Central District's defence.
Well, off to the left of the screen in the Sturt forward line, Harada sitting in the gap at the moment. It's going to make it hard to get the ball forward for Sturt. Of course, at the breakdown, when they win the ball, the doggies make it hard for Sturt as well as they go up long. Feast across the front of the pack, takes the mark. They want to spread it to this side of the ground, but Simon Feast in turn decides no. I'll steady things down and go a little more direct. Burton's got to make himself available because beyond that, they don't really have too many marking targets to go to. At the front, Matner missed it altogether. Sheedy laid it off quickly. He's the Magarey medalist in Squire. His kick was well smothered by Switala. Now pressure on the ground. Hopwood came against the tide. And Michael, I didn't see Hopwood go off for blood, so I imagine there might be still some blood out there. Would that be correct?
He's still very much involved in the competition, and the only changes that are occurring are at the other end of the ground. Looks like another bellow comes back on right now as we speak.
And that's a win there for Chris Threadgold. What happens is all of a sudden it unbalances the Sturt defence. Chris Threadgold's now going to pick up a smaller opponent.
Daniel Shell, the man coming off. Ball kicked off the ground. A raider just tries to bullock his way through as he normally does. Can't get through. Cooper's there locked up in the tackle. Umpire calls for it again. 21 and a half minutes gone. A couple of points the difference. Central's arresting a bit of a slide. 2 unanswered goals in this quarter. So ball back into play. Important game this for both teams to go in with winning form into the finals. Arnold just nudges Burton out of the way, gets the handball back to Harada. Harada off one step. High ball. Thurston's at the back. Ball hits the deck. Woosnam. Well done by Graham. He's got some important touches. Loose ball. Whiteman gets to it first, under plenty of pressure from Stevens. Oh, handy little kick up to Gowans. Gowans runs in, decides to have a bounce. He'll kick inside 50. Great tackle there by Whiteman. Danny Stevens couldn't hold the footy. It goes through by Threadgold for A.B. Hine. What a beautiful little toe poke. Gee, I'd like to see that. A pretty special piece of play then, but a behind to Centrals.
A bit of Gaelic football in that one there, Michael. That's what they obviously do in the Gaelic rules. And you can see Chris Threadgold, ever the professional, works it back across the line.
Keisler quickly gets the 1-2 from Sheedy and then works it out wide to Dent. Dent's kick has to be spot on. It is. Oh, he's off. Is Squire. Squire turns on the left foot, bangs it in long, bangs it in, and oh, Chambers came very hard at Schooler, got him late. Umpire rewarded number 33 for Centrals with a free kick. So he'll go back, Paul Schooler.
It's disappointing from Damien Squire there. They had all the run through the midfield. He actually played on without knowing what's going around him and just turned the footy over.
Keisler, just a little too much on that hand pass. Here's Graham, he's good on both sides. Not that time off the left leg, but he does get it to Slade and turn to Stevens. He's working hard. Is Michael Stevens, chased, well chased. Oh, Lux of Fortune, bellow across to Danny Stevens. This will be a goal. Oh dear, if you work hard enough, the breaks will come your way.
Yeah, so it's an old adage that the harder you work, the luckier you get, Neil. And Central just kept forcing the ball forward. We saw a missed handball here in front of us on the grandstand side by Sturt. Just opened up the play for Central Districts. Just going forward. Importantly, there Slade does his first thing. A great chase here by Toby Thurston, able to run down a much quicker opponent. Ball luckily spills to Bello, who in turn gives it inside, opens up the goal face Daniel Stevens, and he finishes with his first for the day, and Central's just to assume the ascendancy.
They certainly have. They take a 9-point lead at the moment. Ball back in the centre. Feast got the thump down. Burton working a long way up. Sheedy got it to Cooper. Can the double blues reply in quick time? Away goes Cooper. Long kick toward full forward. Geister got the fist on it in front of Riley and thumped it to the boundary line.
And once again, Sturt, I think they would like to start from the centre bounce every time. They're clearly on top in the centre bounce takeaway. Julian Burton with good hands in tight. They run the ball well forward. Unfortunately, kicking it to a smaller target in Riley. Perhaps if they had a larger target down there, it would have made it a lot easier.
Sturt yet to score in this quarter. They went with 4-1-25 at quarter time. They have failed to raise a score. An opportunity here. Chambers v Schooler. Ball hits the deck. The Central's defence has been terrific so far in this term. They've taken all before it, and we see the boundary line again. So you would have thought Sturt have been inside 50 a bit.
They've been inside 57 times to Central's 8, but they've only had 24 kicks this quarter, while Central's have had 47.
Well, clearly on top in this term, Centrals. Thanks for that, Ian. 25 minutes gone. Schooler and Chambers doing the ruck work. As Feast drops a kick or two behind play. Chambers knocked it down. Riley couldn't grab it. Chambers got it back. Picked up by Wetherell. His kick toward full forward. Well done, Hopwood. Ball spills. No one can get the footy. Healy taken away by the doggies. Good play to Arnott. So they'll come to this side of the ground. Simon Arnott's kick will find Steinburner. Steinburner burns off Woosnam. Good piece of play. Let himself down with a kick. He was looking for Graham. Graham, oh, cleverly. Bello kicks it out of bounds on the full. So the theory was there. The practical just didn't quite get there.
And I think the important thing, Steinburner actually went wide. He certainly had plenty of time to straighten his body and kick it more directly to centre half forward. But great play, great initiative there by Quentin Graham.
Schooler from behind, gets it to the front. Gowans with a little paddle. Ball still on the ground. Chris Gowans putting the pressure on. Player comes in, a little agitation there. There's Gowans. Cooper at the bottom. He'd be used to these sort of conditions, or even perhaps a little worse. He comes from Hahndorf in the Adelaide Hills.
He's going to say he comes from Tasmania.
No, Mike. No, we do have conditions that are wet sometimes in South Australia, comparable to Tasmania, and mostly in the Adelaide Hills. And here's that man, Cooper. Cooper gets it up towards Burton. The punch came. Tidied up there by the Central's defenders. Hopwood didn't mean the ball to go there. It works to the advantage of Hicks. Watch his finish line. Here comes Wicks. Daniel Wicks. Oh, just did not straighten, and he's kicked it out on the full. Off the side of the boot, trying to kick perhaps around the corner. Andrew, one of your favourite topics, go.
And of course, that's what happens in these conditions. You generally find the players that break down under pressure, and if you don't do everything absolutely correct, the ball's going to slip and slide off your boot. And unfortunately, that time, Wicks didn't straighten his body, didn't run straight at the goal, and pays the penalty.
Geister boots it out. Bullies looking for a way out here. They'll find it through Hopwood. Hopwood lays it off to Hicks, who's been a good defender this afternoon. Goes to McGowan, who's been a tad quiet. Really is pretty good in the clinches. Kick let him down that time. Thurston's backing back, takes a comfortable mark. Too much ahead. Wicks gives him something. The kick not good on the half volley. Wicks couldn't get it. Handball to Cooper. It's a bit slippery. Lays it off to Dent. Dent will try and square it up. That's a good kick to Burton. Just went straight through his fingertips, but he was quick enough to get back. Maloney just paddles toward Wetherell. Wetherell caught without the footy. Burton just paddles again, plays for the free kick. Teammate nearly cleaned him up in Chambers. In goes McGowan, just the one handball, and Centrals will get away. Taken by Michael Stevens. Look away handball to Hicks, who was ridden into the ground by Sheedy. No free kick. Chambers dropped the footy. Good decision, umpire. So Sturt mucking around with the football. Central just that little bit more direct and used the footy a little bit better. Stevens gets some run from Steinburner, but Feast cuts in. Chance here for Steinburner. He's got to pick it up. Had Graham over the top but couldn't get to him. Maloney was there. In comes Thurston's. Just knocked it on to Cooper. Umpire said a throw. Well, I don't think it was a throw. I think it might have been a nudge and a tap.
And in that last little bit of action, Simon Feast went down. He's very disappointed. Hurt that right knee again, coming straight off the ground. I think that is season 2002 all over for Simon Feast.
Yeah, he's not too happy down there, the big fellow. Schooler, Hicks, away they go again. Tyson Hayes got it. He'll load it up inside 50. Long ball. Graham gets back and takes the mark.
And Michael, that's the advantage of kicking it somewhere near the top of the square. It puts so much pressure back on the opposition on the defensive side. You can see Quentin Graham just worked his way to the front. He gets an opportunity after the siren once again, like Chris Gowans did in the first quarter, to kick a goal and finish a really good quarter for Central Districts.
Well, I've been impressed with the way Graham's gone about his work today. And as Neil keeps saying, good on the left, good on the right, and has some skill, this fellow, that is for sure. He'll kick from 15 metres out directly in front, and an opportunity to increase that lead for Centrals. Good looking kick. Goal umpire doesn't move. A goal after the siren to Graham, his first, which completes a 4-goal to zip second term. Andrew.
And especially in these conditions, a 4-goal to zip would be very disappointing for Sturt. Not to score in the quarter also. It's a great effort by the Central District's defence. They really just did work harder than Sturt did then. They hunted in numbers, they tackled ferociously, they worked really hard, and I think that's the area that Sturt really need to lift their work rate up. They really need to crash in, take Centrals on at their own game, but unfortunately Centrals are proving too good once again. Now it goes out to the Sturt hierarchy. Look, let's take them on at their own game. Let's match them up one-on-one and see if we can change the momentum of the game.
Just the psychological advantage. Centrals at half-time at Elizabeth, 6-4-40, lead the Double Blues 4-1-25 by 15 points. Second half of Centrals v Sturt. Let's see if the Double Blues, now the sunshine is out and the ground is drying out, can they get back into this game? Ball up, Arnold v Conway. Arnold got it down. Conway's got a big job with Feast going off the ground. Dent's locked up by Gowans. Umpire calls for another bounce. So it will be a pretty physical encounter in this second term. Sturt need to stand up. No score in that second term. Let's have a look at how the other games are going around the grounds. We'll get to that in just a moment. Ball is bounced. No one can take possession. Ball kicked away. In goes Hopwood, who's recovered from that belt into the fence just before half-time, and Healy sees it out of bounds. Daniel Healy kicked a goal in that second term, as we saw on the highlights package just a moment ago. Very important player, the skipper for the Bulldogs. Up they go again. Arnold thought he might have got it. Handball away. Dent got a fingernail on it. Cop one high. Umpire said play on. And says now give it to me. Let's have a look at the games around the ground. Well, we will hopefully get to that in a moment. There it is. Port by 19 points over North. I think North are the only side that haven't beaten Port this year. And Glenelg by a point over South. And Norwood by 3 points over the Eagles. So all pretty close games there.
Sturt working back in defence, kicking to a cluster of players. Powell's high kick, and there's Heath Hopwood. We spoke about him a short time ago. Crashing into the fence, still able to get up, get a position, and keep going. Here's Swatala as they switch the play onto this side of the ground. Swatala looks for a target, doesn't really have one. Sibonala, or rather Quentin Graham, did well. Kicked off the ground by Dent. Swatala again, sweeps the hand pass, gets it back in return from Stevens. He's a two-sided player, Swatala, and he proves it with a nice little left footer inside the forward 50. Chris Gowan's taken to ground. Still a fight on Centrals. Sturt desperately trying to clear the area. Big high up and under, sitting under it was Hay. Burton came hard. Ricochet towards the boundary. Swatala, he's got his own ball, I'm sure. Takes possession again, sweeps it towards half forward. Punch came from the Sturt defenders. Matner crashed in hard, got a hand pass towards the boundary line. Whiteman did the same sort of thing and got it over. Thank God, that was really kick to kick, wasn't it, Andrew?
It certainly was. Sturt have pushed back in numbers in their defence, and of course Centrals will set up the wall here on the wing, and of course the ball just going backwards and forwards until someone makes a decision to make something else happen.
Also gives us an opportunity to talk about the Sturt bench at the start of this second half, which is Dean Woosnam and Xavier Campbell. And the injured Simon Feast is still sitting, looking ready to play, but I'll be surprised if we see him.
The ball out of bounds again, another breakdown, 3 minutes, final term. Simon Feast is the person underneath that jacket.
Who's having the sheepish look just behind there? Was it Campbell?
The ball back into play deep into the Central's forward line. Whiteman couldn't get a clean kick. Graham got clean possession, put it to a dangerous part of the ground, but Sturt again with an opportunity to clear the area. Is Weatherall short, looking for Burton, 1-2 over the line.
And Julian Burton just not showing the benefits there. Just probably hasn't played enough football this year. We saw him early in the year be injured with the dreaded osteopubis. So he's working his way back into the game, working his way back into condition.
Yeah, he certainly is, and I think the drier conditions will help him too, Andrew. Gets out on that lead. He'll get a sense of the footy as the game goes on. Steinburner just off one boot. Long kick, off one step, I should say. Graham takes it out of bounds. Did he? No, kept it in. Threadgold, just got a toe pock on it. Goes to Whiteman, back to Dent. So Sturt try to switch it away. Good kick by Dent, finds Weatherall. Now Weatherall bursts out of half back. Looks for Riley. Riley just nudges his opponent away. Ball spills to Arnott. It goes to James Gowans. Ball sloppy kick, but it was effective though. It had something on it. Goes to McGowan, who got it to Bello. Goes back to James Gowans. This will be a lovely kick if Gowans can put it through. No, good build-up. The short kick was deliberate. Just a little scrubber and found the man, but Gowans couldn't finish it off.
Great awareness by the Central Districts player, knowing what was around him, knowing they had runners to help to receive. Once again instigated by Heath Hopwood. I'd almost get to the stage where, very similar to Scott Doreen, where you may be doing the gating role on Heath Hopwood. He reads the play that well that perhaps you designate someone just to shut him down.
Well, there's a free kick. Trying to push back Maloney, he couldn't. Call play on, quickly inside 50. Slade with a chance to finish, and he's missed it, and he knew it as soon as he kicked it outside of the boot and out of bounds on the full. So Sturt get another opportunity. Threadgold a little bit rushed when he brought the ball back into play from fullback. Kicked long, and Maloney just unable to get back to take possession. So Sturt with a kick down in the back pocket. 16 points the margin. 5.5 minutes third term. Kicks wide. Up from behind Thurstons, couldn't take position. Gowans with a little bit of a toe poke inside 50. Oh, bad mistake by the defenders. Danny Stevens will finish this. And Sturt, well and truly, down and out at the moment. Central's just so effective going forward. Danny Stevens with 2 this afternoon.
I was about to say there's danger signs here early for Sturt. They certainly haven't opened with the intensity to change the direction of the game here. And Dean Woosum just didn't get down low enough there to keep the ball in front of him. A cardinal sin as a defender. He must keep the ball in front of him. The ball gets past him. Just got to look at it here. Just didn't get down low enough. Daniel Stevens, just plenty of time. Sizes the goal up, runs directly at the goals, finishes with his second for the day. And Central just increased their margin. There certainly is alarm bells now ringing for the Sturt coaching group.
Out to 22 points now through that second goal from Danny Stevens. James Gowans went for a fresh area. In goes Powell. He's locked up. Umpire says, give it to me. Another ball up. So the momentum all with Centrals, as they've got some terrific confidence out of that second term where the rain fell and they kicked 4 unanswered goals. Sturt unable to score in the second term. They're going on with the job in the third. Knocked away by Maloney. Steinburner went without it. Wicks is with him. Can't get the footy. Thought he was held without it, and the umpire said yes. Free kick to Wicks.
And Wicks will penetrate into a restructured forward line for Sturt. Squires has come off, and Xavier Campbell has come on, probably to play that negating role on Hopwood that Andrew Rogers spoke of.
Thanks for that, Michael. They do come very, very wide. Dent got it to Weatherall, who dropped the footy, dropped the chest mark, and maybe that sunlight, Andrew Rogers, maybe the sun got in his eyes. We can't believe it. The sun is out and beaming.
It is. Just a lack of talk there between 2 experienced players in Julian Burton and Tim Weatherall. Look, call someone in, make sure you call him in, make sure he knows that he's got to take that mark, and just an opportunity goes begging.
Boundary throw in. Conway will do battle with Arnold. Neither can get the tap. In goes Gowans, locked up by Burton. It's an ugly mess there. Campbell trying to get his way into the game. And a little bit of push and shove. There's a bit of needle in this match. We saw that in the first half. The umpire says, I'll have a bounce.
There's a bit of needle between those 2 players, between Julian Burton and James Gowans, who have been at each other for most of the day. These are prepared to take a backward step.
Burton over the ball, put his head down. Umpire picked out a free kick before that. It went to one of the Gowans boys. Chris is the man to take the free kick. A chance for Centrals to clear the area.
They will look to switch the play. You can see he desperately wants to switch the play, but it's being forced to kick down the line.
Called the play on Burton. He won't beat him in a foot race, ain't that obvious? Burton was really struggling to get past then. He was hoping that the ball would go over the line and succeeded in the end. Just 20 metres around from the Sturt goal. Julian Burton puffing hard.
He's worked fairly hard, so I mean, it's lacking in condition, so the hit out will certainly do him well. It is a big ground, so you know you've covered plenty of Ks here at Elizabeth.
Burton sucking off the pack as we watch the ball come in. Here's Weatherall, throws it well, gives a hand pass on his wrong, oh no, Sheedy, I thought it was Matner, but Sheedy straightens up into the goal square. Matner was almost the man who took it. Now here's Chambers, he hasn't had many kicks, lobs it up in the goal square. Somebody will surely knock it through for Centrals eventually. That is what you call rushed.
It is. There's certainly plenty of numbers around the footy. Centrals have pushed back in numbers, but an opportunity just goes begging there for Sturt. They need to make the most of their opportunities if they're going to bridge this margin.
And yes, Neil, that was Brant Chambers' first kick.
And I'll ask Ian Mogridge when that was their first score since when?
A long time ago, Mikey, about the 20-minute mark of the first quarter.
You've got it spot on, Ian Mogridge. As Steinburner takes it from half back for Centrals. Thurston's nudges his opponent in the back, taken by Chris Gowans. Got a free kick. Umpire said play on. Away goes Arnott. Arnott will look for Stevens. He had Michael Stevens. Long kick up forward. They knock the ball to ground. Desperation taken by Maloney as they work it out. Do the double blues through Threadgold to Dent. He was about to go and Bello locked him up. Dent goes with a left footer. It's got to be pinpointed. It is to Sheedy, who hasn't quite had the game that he had last week. He's been in pretty good touch, Jade Sheedy, for most of the year. And he's got it at half-back. Chip short looking for Cooper. Cooper in front of Chris Gowan. So Sturt play that little chip game, waiting for something to open up. Cooper goes long, just kicks to a pack. Burton flies too early. Hopwood couldn't take the mark. Hopwood at least. Ball hits the deck. Hack-up players. And we'll have another bounce.
And it's very much stop-start football from Sturt. They certainly look better in the first quarter when they were able to move the ball quickly. Players are running from behind, taking some risks. All of a sudden they're under pressure, and what they do is they go back to the natural instincts and just man their player up. To get back into the game, they're going to need to take some risks.
Ball down again. Conway did well. Farms out the hand pass. Weatherall did not see Healy coming. Bumped off the ball. Central's break, and late behind the play there was a free kick, I think. Yes. Just as he kicked it, Slade taken to ground. Umpire said it was too late. Free kick. Michael Stevens in the middle of the ground. His disposal was perfect. Daniel Healy now will swing around on his left leg, go long and go high, and perhaps too long and too high for what he really wanted to do. Smacked away. Steinburner in the gap. Arnott puts his hands up. He's in the pocket. He ran with Swatala, in fact. His hand pass inside to Stevens. Straighten, goal, and Sturt are just getting a hammering around the packs.
They certainly are. Just the vision there of Nathan Steinburner and able to see a loose opponent in Adam Swatala working forward. They really have just got some footy smarts about it. You can see there, just in the background, you can see Adam Swatala with his hand up. The kick just didn't quite hit, but it still was to the right side. Good talking there by Michael Stevens to let him know that he was there in space. So great teamwork together. Just works the ball back into space. Looking up, just no commitment from any Sturt player towards him. And Michael Stevens just has the presence to go back, kick a nice goal. And Centrals once again are giving Sturt a lesson in how to play. It's only going to get harder come finals time.
Michael Stevens kicks his first, and it's out to 27 points. Matner needs to do a bit more. Marty Matner got it to Cooper. Cooper for the double blues. Just sits it up high. Chambers hasn't touched the footy all afternoon, hardly. Can't take that mark. He is out of a bit of nick at the moment. Free kick will go back, and it'll go to Centrals. So anyway, a free kick was given away by Chambers. It goes to Steinburner. Here's Wormburner to half forward. Graham on hands and knees, out of bounds.
And Quinton Graham just doing his job there. He's creating a contest at centre half forward. Very much the way Conan forward. If you look at some updates, Port have exploded away from North. So a disappointing end of the year for North Adelaide. South Adelaide by 5 points in a tight one against Cornell, and Norwood have assumed the ascendancy against the Eagles.
Wouldn't mind a hard knockout game, I reckon, Norwood. They need a tough match going into the finals. McGowan lays it off to James Gowans, who gets it to Simon Arnott, who's going to load it up and go with a long thumping bomb. Healy's going back. Shred goes there. Oh, the bounce. Favoured Healy. Got the handball to Stevens. Oh, great smother by Wicks in unison with Toby Thurston's, and it's through from behind.
And great presence there by Daniel Healy. Look, the kick didn't favour him. He was able to get a ball back into space, and a smother of some sort there from Wicks. Michael Stevens unable to finish with his second goal for the quarter.
Sturt working at the back. Dent brings the ball in. His kick was pretty good. He found Matner wide out on the 50-yard. Just waits, takes his time.
And once again, it's very stop-start and when they were running and taking risks from behind, they actually looked better as a team.
Now, I must say, I did sneak past the Sturt rooms before the game and heard the expression break the lines, and certainly that's what Sturt has not been able to do in this second half. In fact, virtually since quarter time. Penalty here, free kick in favour of the Double Blues. Just hatching the ball was Gowans. He'll get 25 against him for, oh no, gee, he took some time. Got away with it, Maloney to take the free kick. Certainly Sturt's last goal, Julian Burton kicked it. He was second of the match at the 20-minute mark of the first term, and that gave Sturt a 17-point lead. It's been downhill since then, basically. Conway drives Sturt into attack. Couple of leapers, Schooler pulled it down for Centrals. Bad enough, they're dominating the packs. Now they're taking control in the air. Hay peels off the back, goes across with an ordinary kick, intercepted by that man, Burton. Burton inside 50, lays it out to the advantage of White, puts the big arms up, and he did kick a goal from about this position in the opening term.
And he's going in a great kick forward there by Burton. Just put it out in space. Stephen White's been the recipient of that twice of the day. You can see he's only 2 marks. He's only had 1 kick, so it's that early goal that he kicked. But he just lacks opportunities at the moment. They really haven't given him, the midfield of Sturt hasn't provided him with the same amount of opportunities.
So White repeats his effort of the opening term. At the 14-minute mark of the opening term, he kicked a goal, and at the 14-minute mark of the third term, he kicks his second.
And it's just one-on-one opportunities. As I said, we just haven't seen enough of him because the Sturt midfield hasn't had enough of the footy running through the half-forward line. And a great kick, just gave it some air out in front by Julian Burton. And importantly, Stephen White gets a belated goal there, first since the 20-minute mark of the first quarter. So Sturt just niggle away. They just have to work away at this margin.
Just disposal of the football, so important. Away goes Cooper, loads up a big torpedo punt to half-forward. Campbell takes the mark, 50 metres out from goal. Just worked his way in front of Tyson Hay. So Xavier Campbell, looking for his options, decides to go long, and White's the man. Long kick by Campbell to carry the packet to goal.
They really do work in bursts, don't they, Michael? They've kicked 3 goals in, they kicked 4 goals in 6 minutes in the first quarter. They've kicked 2 goals in the last minute here in the third quarter. So they just like getting the ball out of the middle, moving it quickly. You can see they just get it going forward, and Xavier Campbell just works his player underneath the footy, and Tyson Hay takes a second grab mark, loads it up from outside 50, so the breeze is not helping Centrals much in this quarter. It's cleared the pack quite easily. He gets the goal, and all of a sudden Sturt have worked the margin back to 16 points. They can continue this momentum, get themselves back level at three-quarter time. Who knows what can happen from there.
Andrew, I just take up on your comment about the breeze. I was thinking that was a particularly good kick because the breeze still is blowing, probably 2 goals to the favour of Central District. So an excellent kick from Xavier Campbell.
Central get the break from the middle. That handball went to hand. Look out. As it is, look out. Bello gets the ball forward. It might have been Stevens. It doesn't matter. Michael Stevens almost runs onto it. Umpire has picked out a free kick. He'll get a kick for too high or holding on. One of the two. The Blues supporters don't like it. And I must say, Andrew, don't know about that one.
Doesn't that hurt after you've got the ascendancy? You've worked really hard to get 2 goals, and Central's work it forward, and Michael Stevens gets a suspect free kick for too high, and he will go back and make Sturt pay and bring this margin back out to a 22 points.
I believe the umpire was Anthony Mead. Address all correspondence via the SANFL. Here's the kick from Michael Stevens. Makes no mistake. So again, that's his second, and Central's just steady a bit. Michael Stevens has kicked the last 2 goals.
He's had 16 possessions today, working very hard, 11 and 5.
He has, and certainly putting his hand up for the Port Power next week. You can see they're just swift hands in tight by Gowans. Bello just gets the ball forward. Once again, good vision spots out in front of there. I'd say that Chris Gethrold's probably missed him there, but unfortunately the umpires pay those, and Michael Stevens gets the last 2 goals of the game.
must say, I think the play that we missed just after that, Stevens put his hand to his head and the umpire has reacted thinking, well, the arm was out there. Never mind, on with the game.
Very instinctive thing, umpiring, isn't it? Up it goes. Schooler knocked it down towards McGowan. Matner pretty hard on him. In goes Sheedy. Handball out. Away goes Swatala. It's on the right boot. Just kicked for the boundary line. Slade can't haul it in. 22 points the difference. 18.5 minutes. Can Sturt get back into the game, Andrew?
So we get a look at the updates again. North Adelaide fighting back against Port Adelaide. Back to 25 points. And Glenelg just still holding that little ascendancy over South Adelaide, and Norwood have worked their way well clear of the Eagles.
Away comes Sturt. Dent. Handball to Sheedy. Sheedy's kick is a good one. And finds Matner. Matner at half-back just loads up a long left footer over the back. Swatala. Taken by Chambers. Can he get it off to Riley? He can. Riley's got a cut-back inboard. Good handball to the run of Sheedy. Sheedy's got it. Will load it up inside 50. Long kick. Can't find the target. Well played by the doggies. The handball out. Steinburner, ball in dispute. Campbell, who kicked that lovely goal a moment ago. They can't get through. Cooper was there. In goes Wicks. All pretty tough inside 50 for the double blues. No one able to get the ball out. The umpire will bounce it.
And it's easy to be critical there of Jay Cheek. Didn't really give his forward the opportunity. He kicked it to the side of the Central District's defender. So just all he had to do was kick it to the side of his forward, at least give him a 50-50 opportunity.
Jay Sheedy's now the top possession getter on the ground with 22.
He does work hard, Jade Sheedy, but again, probably symptomatic of Sturt's day. Perhaps just overusing the hand pass.
Doesn't always tell a story though, Neil. The 22 possessions, it's what you actually do with those possessions.
Here's Tim Pfeiffer. Puts the ball into the turf, successfully getting a good bounce. Chambers just came over the top and thumped it. It wasn't so much of a set play either, because the only people there really were Central District players. Heath Hopwood wraps it up. Fortunately for Sturt, they wrap it up. We see there the turnovers, and there've been some pretty bad ones. 15 to Central, 17 to Sturt. Most of Central's, I would have thought, happened in the first quarter. Just a little unsettled early on. 22 points the margin. We're into time on in this third term, and the ball is going nowhere, and Chris Gowans, again, just a little bit of agitation there. Speaking to Brian Chambers, the boy from Perth.
And I nearly say that every week, and you've got a perfect shot of there on TV, is how many numbers are around the footy. Sturt aren't going to get a clean takeaway from this bounce down.
It's almost like daring them to do it.
They probably will.
They get the ball in the end. Or rather, Cooper with the snap missed. Or did he?
No.
Well, I saw his reaction immediately, clapping the hand as if to say, damn, I missed. But in fact, he got the goal. So Sturt get one back again, just edging that little bit closer. 16 points the margin.
Andrew Rogers, I know why you're sitting in the chair that's got expert written on the back of it. Comment?
That's right, yes, and jinx someone else again. Look, Sturt just worked forward in numbers here. They punched the ball forward, continually to work forward, and you can see there, just didn't quite get his kick, Daniel Stevens, and Cooper swooped on the spill, finishes with an important goal. So Sturt just hanging in there. They're just within range. If they can get another goal, you know, we're just entering time one, get a goal between now and the third quarter, they get it back to a really manageable margin.
Good part about that was they were able to keep the ball inside their attacking 50, so they could score. Ball out of the centre. Campbell goes to ground, too high, free kick. Good call, umpire, although he was on his way to the ground. Campbell wants to go on with the job with Gowans, and they'll just pull him back 25. Well, I'd like to see the stats for the whole year and how many times there have been 50-metre penalties or 25-metre penalties against the Gowans boys, but...
testosterone for breakfast.
Yeah, they have plenty of that. Good kick by Campbell to Maloney, who's run off. So Maloney's just got to hook it inside and will drive it inside 50. High ball. Chambers flies, can't take the mark, but White. Well, I had my eyes on Chambers, but I think White might have just come in from the side and taken that mark, and they're still going on at it, the boys, inside 50 there.
And I don't know if he actually saw it out of the corner of his eye, Brian Chambers, but the person who was sitting under him when he went forward was Chris Gowans. And I think he made him well and truly. Chris Gowans was upset, let's say, by the way that Chambers crashed in.
And there's the beauty of the three big tall targets for Sturt. While Chambers is attracting all the attention, White's able to just float across the front, take a quite simple mark.
This kick to bring it back to 10 points. Has he missed? Goal umpire does plenty to his left. Has he scraped it in for a goal? Stephen White gets goal number 3, and here come the double blues.
And once again, we keep harping on how good Centrals have been in tight, how they've dominated the game. Sturt within back 10 points here, just through going forward and being very efficient as they go forward. You can see White just float across the front, strong hands. You know, that's a great pack mark, and that's the type of aspect he brings to the Sturt Footy Club. He made the goal umpire do plenty of work with his kick, and he's got his third for the day from very limited opportunities.
He's getting some opportunities. The Sturt are dominating the centre breaks 12-3.
And with that Central, make it 12-4. They take it away from the middle. Just get it forward to Quinton Graham. Well trapped. Hand pass was good too to Bello. Bello did the dodge, came back inside. Long left foot up into the face of goal. Daniel Shell not been on the ground long in this quarter. Just over the back, the veteran. Oh, threat goal. Yes. Free kick, just took his man to ground, and threat goal penalised. Watch out, Daniel Shell. You don't want to give away the ball here. Centrals have possession. They drill it backwards towards Steinburner while we're watching this replay. And yeah, clearly a decision in favour of Michael Stevens there. Now it's with Steinburner. He's outside 50 and he'll load up. And off the ball too. Matty Slade in trouble. 3 trainers around him. Oh, I'm okay, he says, so we'll just wait. Michael Parsons, I'd suggest, what is the cloud covering in again? It might even rain in the final term. We'll wait for this kick from Steinburner. Loads it up off to the right. Makes the distance for the Monarch score. Michael Parsons, the rain prediction?
Yes, we'll go with a 90% chance of rain in the last quarter. Big grey cloud sneaking up behind the grandstand as we speak. I would think halfway through that last quarter we'll get a shower.
Matthew Slade coming off the ground, and James Gowans after that 25-metre penalty. Let's have a look and see exactly what happened to Slade. Oh, cleaned up by Howman. So, cleaned up there by Whiteman, I should say. So, the double blues with the footy at half-back Toby Thurstons. This tweak of the red football. Drive them along to the wing. Kick by Thurstons. Burton can't get it. Oh, cleverly knocked it back, only as far as Chris Gowans. Does the pirouette, gets away. Hereda kicks long, looking for Graham. Falls to ground. Bello was there. The handball out by Powell, not good. Taken by Bello. Bello dodges, wears here, there, everywhere. Short kick, Stevens. Probably too far out to score. Around about 60, 65. Short kick. Oh, good kick too. James Gowans. Backpedaling into space, terrific vision, and a lovely tumbling mark by James Gowans.
And of course, on the larger Elizabeth Oval, there's certainly plenty of spaces. And unfortunately, for Sturt, James Gowans is able to find one of those spaces, and importantly, he's directly in front, only 20 metres out. If you're going to concede a kick, at least concede it wide rather than directly in front of goal.
This is the perfect answer to Alistair Clarkson dragging him just a moment, although that's a team policy. Gowans kicks for goal. They don't miss too many, the Gowans boys, that is for sure. He gets his first of the afternoon, and the Bulldogs continue to penetrate the big opening.
So James Gowans appeases his coach there by getting into space. Great vision there by the Central District's player in front of him, just to spot him out the corner of his eye. And unfortunately for Sturt, they just didn't fill that gap in there. He goes back, finishes with a nice goal, and just arrests the momentum from Sturt, and it just extends that margin out to a more comfortable margin for Central Districts.
There's a bit of a seesaw contest just at the moment, and Sturt have certainly proven in this term they are up to it. Trouble is, with that rain coming, you suspect Sturt might go to ground again. Sheedy is going to ground, courtesy of one of the Gowans boys, Chris Gowans, just proving that his right elbow, which copped a nail from a nail gun about 4 weeks ago, is in full functioning order.
Neil, interesting comment about the rain and Sturt disappearing. Clearly they disappeared when it rained in that second quarter. If we get another shower, it will be just interesting to see if they can stay at the body when the ground gets wet again.
Oh, busting through and then thrown into the ground by Chris Gowan, sorry, and it'll be a free kick to Sturt. I didn't pick up who the player was.
It's Whiteman.
Whiteman, is it? Oh, wait, they're still battling, and the umpire says 15. And Whiteman gives a little bit of a pat on the head for Chris Gowans, and the free kick's actually going to Kaysler, so he'll take the free kick just inside the centre square. Late chance for the Double Blues, 28-minute mark in the third term. White was the target, 3 opposed to him, and Arnold gave it up to White. White somehow got it forward. It was a throw. The umpire didn't see it. Oh, well trapped by Sturt. They're working hard in there. Hicks trapped. Umpire calls it play on. Still White works hard. Back to Dent. Dent's shot up to goal is ineffective in that the only player standing there was wearing red, white and blue. Now Arnott gets it from Swatala, goes wide, looks for the boundary, finds the boundary, out of bounds, far side, 17 points the margin, 28.5-minute mark, and Chris Gowans has a rest.
He pays for his indiscretion.
The ball back into play, and I know what Michael Parsons' next comment will be if we get a breakdown. He will be talking about the weather.
I think he's ducking for cover, I think, Neil.
Yes, just turning the microphone back on after organising the umbrella because the rain has started to tumble down.
Yes, rain coming down. Remains to be seen how long it will last for. Riley dumps it forward. Hereda, Mr. Reliable back there. McGowan has worked his way into the game pretty well. The kick to Danny Stevens was spot on. So Stevens tries to get around. Umpire says play on. Could have done better with the kick, Maloney. Away comes Kaysler. Matner. Powell, who drives it forward in the driving rain. Swatala, who's had a pretty good term. Swatala, long kick, had a great opening to the start of the quarter as Graham took a pretty good mark in the conditions, and he's about 155 metres out from goal and wants to go back and have his kick on the siren. So there it goes. There's Michael Parsons. Goes with a long thumping kick out of bounds on the full that went about 25 metres. So it's three-quarter time and Central's lead by 17.
And of course, Sturt fought their way back into the game there. Halfway through the quarter, we were saying Central Districts, it's just a matter of playing the game out. Sturt, to their credit, they toughed it out. They persisted and persisted and persisted and finally got the rewards. They have been really efficient going forward, as the scoring shot suggests. 17-10 is a fair indication of the level of the game where Central Districts have had that area of domination. But Sturt continue to hang in there. Now they will go home with a slight advantage with the breeze. As the weather sets in, we saw Central's handle the weather better in the second quarter. I really believe Sturt need to adapt their game better to the conditions than they did in the second quarter. Less handball, more kicking, let's be more direct, get it down to our tall targets, and we might just see a similar effort to what we saw against Norwood out here at Elizabeth, where Norwood were able to run over the top of Centrals in the last quarter.
It's three-quarter time at Elizabeth. Game on, you would think. Still plenty left in this match. 10-7-67 Centrals lead Sturt 8-2-50. The Double Blues will kick with a slight breeze in the last term. Can they do it? Can they beat Centrals? They haven't done it all year. Out of the centre goes Conway with a long kick forward. Bouncing ball. Burton missed it. Taken by Hopwood. Short kick to Chris Gowans. Takes the mark. Goes down the lines. Looking for Graham. Terrific mark. Lays it off quickly to Arnott. Oh, good smother by Whiteman. Ball going out of bounds. So the commitment there straight away from the Double Blues, and that would please Brenton Phillips.
I think importantly there, Quinton Graham gave the ball outside. It very much limited what Simon Arnott was able to do with the footy. If he brings the ball back inside, you open up so many more options.
Conway v Arnold, I think they both got a bit on that. Whiteman went without it. Picked up by Wetherell. Scrubby kick. Will it beat Arnott? It does. It's good enough to get back on it. Good vision. Sees Hopwood. Handball to Hay. Hale loaded up inside 50, looking for Graham, whose hands have been terrific today. Well read by Dent. Gets a loose kick. Wicks v Steinberger. Now that's not a bad one if we saw the footballers gift at grand final time. Ball runs out of bounds, and I tell you what, toe to toe. Who won that one, Andrew?
Oh, I think I'd have Nathan Steinberger just slightly in front. So we can look at some updates. North Adelaide have fought right back in the contest against Port. Only 1 point the difference. South and Glenelg could continue to rotate their margins between those two. and Norwood, once again, have just creeped out of margin against the Eagles.
Ball back into play. Umpire calls for it again. Crowd. Pretty good crowd today too. They've stuck right with it. Haven't been daunted by the rain. Ball up. Massive players around the footy. As Gowans tries to burst his way. Is that Bello? It is. And Bello tries to burst his way through. There he is. Marco Bello will be a very important cog in the Central District's run through the finals.
7 days, 8 in fact, to the finals. They'll start next Sunday at Football Park. Centrals won't be there. They'll have the week off because they will finish top. Is Kaysler, good hand pass. Cooper had sped it before he actually took possession. Healy showed him how to stay over the ball. Healy still did well. Off to Arnott, off the left leg, drives it in long. Suits Dent really at the back, but Gowans did well at the front. He trapped it. Now he's trapped. Just under the 2 or 3 Sturt bodies over the top.
Doesn't it, just that little fumble by Matthew Cooper make a whole lot of difference? Sturt were going forward with space in front of him, running onto his left foot, his preferred leg. Just makes a little fumble. We now see it deep in Central's territory. Ball
thrown up. Again, the ruckman couldn't get it. Quentin Graham read it best. Took possession, taken to ground. Still Bello over the ball. Quentin Graham still down. I just wonder, he's awfully slow to get up, and he looks a little bit worse for wear there, just off camera. As does Arnold, just limping away.
And Brenton Phillips spoke about it at 3/4 time, the second jumper. Once again, you'll see Central. There's the second jumper go up. They bring the ball forward, try to run it into space.
Whiteman just taken off the ball, and Weatherall is crashed to the ground by Chris Gowans, who just gives him an added little shove just for a change.
Never the antagonist, but once again, they'll try it again here. They'll have someone set up as a second jumper to come over the top, try to find some space with someone running towards goal.
This time it's done by Maloney for Sturt to Cooper. He goes for the boundary. Race on. Good race there between the 2 left footers and Matner. The Sturt left footer gets the ball up quickly to Dent. That was awkward but effective. Got it forward. Kaysler got his man under the ball. Goes back over it and eventually knocked over the line. I didn't know which player. I think they probably both tried to get it over the line, but Simon Arnott perhaps getting the better of the ball. Yes, he did.
Very much an unsung hero, Simon Arnott. Doesn't get many accolades, continues to accumulate possessions. He acts like a bit of a quarterback. He's always at the back of the pack. He sucks back off the packet, so in fact, if the opposition get it, he's the one between them and goals.
But plenty of accolades against the Eagles with that last kick of the day, didn't he? But I agree with you there, Andrew. He certainly doesn't get too many accolades. Goes about his business pretty well. Ball out of bounds in the meantime, and Matthew Dent just crashes into James Gowans, and James does the Academy Award trick, I think it was. He gets up with a smile on his face.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why he's smiling, because Dent did the flop on him in front of the umpire. The umpire didn't call it, and then Gowans has done the dive, and the umpire bought that one.
Oh, they're enjoying their afternoon of the footy. Campbell, locked up, can't get away. Arnott's got him. Umpire then calls for it.
But that's undisciplined play from an experienced AFL player to get sucked into to Gowans like that. I mean, look, sure, fall over if you don't get a free kick, but don't go back at him. Just get on with playing the game.
Umpire just throws the ball up. Healy, through difficult traffic, can't get the break. So we'll see a fair few of these, I think, in the last term as things tighten up. Sturt really do need a goal. They need it now.
You're just starting to wonder where the 3 goals are going to come from now. They really haven't had any intensity in this last quarter so far. Just really feel as though they're not capable of kicking the 3 goals required.
Going up and down in one sort of place. Kaysler lays it off. Riley will thump it inside 50. Good looking kick. Over the back, Chambers, who's just had a dirty day today, and Geister sees it out of bounds. Well, Brant Chambers just can't get into the game today. Conditions in the second in this last term haven't really suited him.
1 kick, 4 handballs.
I'd like Brent Riley to have that kick again. I think he didn't really favour Brant Chambers with the kick.
I think he tried very hard, Andrew, but he just didn't get it to the right position, and I'm sure you're correct. He'd like to have it back again, but it doesn't work that way. Ball thrown in. Again, the umpire's letting it go, and the ruckman unable to get a hand to the ball, just too busy worrying about their own opponent.
Be interesting to see if we get a 3rd jumper here. Brenton Phillips called for it. Suggests this is the ideal opportunity to bring it back in space.
No, again, both ruckmen negate each other. Ball just bounces to Central's advantage, and Healy quite happy to have it over the line at half back for Centrals. 6 minutes, final term. Centrals by 17 points, and fairly wet conditions for a little while, and now it seems to be clearing again. We'll get a report from Michael Parsons and his impressions of what the weather's going to do.
Yes, I think we've had our shower for a little while. Should hold off for at least the next 10 minutes. Nothing too sinister appearing on the horizon.
Centrals just going into attack again. Chris Gowan's got the one arm up. That was good enough. Slade trapped. Was good enough to get a hand pass away. Now Chris Gowans is run forward of the play. He looks up. There's a lot of space inside 50. He's run down. The umpire will penalise him. Well done by Marty Matner. And Chris Gowans just agitating again. They're just holding down Marty Matner, getting away with it. As we see there, that was a great chase. And Matner's played a few AFL games for Adelaide and proven that that sort of chase and that sort of speed is there even at the top level. That's a free kick too against Danny Stevens. He looked up as if to say, oh, maybe it wasn't, but it was pretty clear. As we see there, yeah, well, it was pretty clear. Here's Sheedy in the middle of the ground for Sturt, the ball winner, the ball magnet. Oh, drives it a little too high and a little too wide, and Hay picks it off easily in the Central's defence.
Tyson Hay, good defender. Just goes to the outer side of the ground, so they work it away through Arnott. Arnott's got a man loose, chips over the top to Slade, who got the knock early in the game, but he's okay now. Kicks it looking for Danny Stevens. Ball off the back. Chris Gowans got it to the advantage of Danny Stevens. Now he's pretty clever as Danny Stevens. He's got onto his left boot. He's going to have to kick it for goal. He tumbles it. No. Maloney couldn't quite hang on, had no pressure. The slippery ball just going through the hands and through for one behind. Good opportunity missed there for Sturt. They could have worked that ball out, Andrew.
They certainly could have switched the play to this grandstand side. They're endeavouring to try to switch the play, but unfortunately the conditions are limiting what they're able to do.
Well, to a limited amount, they're able to do it. Here's Cooper. Cooper, and his kick was not good. Hopwood just read it too well, and late on the scene, Burton, the best he can do is put his hands up on the mark, which is now guarded by Matner, and nothing on offer in the middle for Hopwood. So he says, come this way to Marco Bello, delivers the shortest of short passes. Umpire Greg Simons ruling that was okay. Inside 50 with the kick, punched away, no risk approach by the Sturt defenders. Damien Arnold, and was good enough to get around the little man, and Weatherall drives it in long, pressure on. Healy comes from the side, knocks it towards his own player in Stevens, off the ground, socket, back in the danger area. Here's Michael Stevens. Can he get a kick away? No, dispossessed, great tackle. Pick up who that was in a minute. I think it was Whiteman. Stevens gives him one to go on with as the ball goes over the line.
Of course, it's down the wrong end of the ground for Sturt too. I mean, I'm still starting to wonder where these 3 goals are going to come from. While Centrals have got the ascendancy, eventually Sturt will crack and Centrals will get this well-rewarded goal that they're trying to earn in this last quarter.
Coming off the bye, the minor premier has won 4 in a row, but coming off the bye, they look in pretty good shape as they get the ball around and work it back towards the middle. Chris Gowans comes from behind, can't take possession. Hay, clean, lost the ball though in the tackle. Now Powell gets it wide for Sturt, looking for the boundary, looking for relief. Hopwood though, gee, picks up a lot of possessions out there by reading the play off half-back. Again, his disposal was pretty good to McGowan. McGowan inside 50, loads it up, another clash of bodies. Sturt clears through Thurstons, down towards the centre. Brant Chambers has no idea where the ball is, and that's pretty much been the story all day. It's back to Hopwood again, tackled by Chambers though. Central's working hard. Hay, out wide to McGowan. McGowan off the left leg, up towards the 50. Now James Gowans kicks it inside the 50. Thurstons off half-back for Sturt, cleans it up. Drives it outside the 50. 2-on-1 though for Centrals. They can't take control, they can't take a mark, and unfortunately Bello puts it over the line. That ends one of the sloppiest periods of play we've seen in the game.
And we've been very critical of Brant Chambers, David. What he needs to do is work on the other aspect of his game. You know, look, you just can't take marks and kick goals all day. There are other aspects. Hold the ball in the area, work hard, tackle, chase, etc. Those type of options.
Well, Powell spotted up Conway, who then spotted up another teammate. That is Cooper. Let's have a look at the updates. Port have gone away by 5 goals again, so they really have kicked again. Glenelg by 16, so maybe the Tigers can get up, and Norwood still by that 3 goals. Taken by Sheedy. Sheedy kicks to the outer side to Riley. Will it sit for him? Will it beat him to the boundary? He thumps it back in. Good play. No, the ball was out of bounds, was it? And the boundary umpire right on the scene will toss it back in.
And once again, the kick goes really wide. See, your 50-metre line, it's very hard to kick goals from out there. Much rather straighten your body and kick it long to that hot spot we talk about each week, and therefore your crummers know exactly where it's going. It's very predictable, but it's very hard to combat.
The Centrals are one of the best in the business at doing that, and Sturt really need to do it in this last term. Ball tapped away. Away they come again through McGowan. McGowan goes to the left footer off the side of the boot. So out of bounds on the full, to be brought back in by Powell. So a couple of mistakes will creep in once you get the slippery conditions. There's Powell, who's a rugged defender, come on baller for the double blues. Doesn't have too much to kick, dude. So he decides to load it up. Won't get it inside 50. Conway was the target. They boot it forward, do the double blues, taken by Chris Gowans. Oh, free kick will go against Chris Gowans for a throw. It'll go to Kaysler. It's a bit slick.
We're going to look on replay. I don't think there's any doubt about it either.
He lays it off to Cooper. Now Cooper thumps it long. Good-looking kick by Cooper. And the double blues get a goal. I think they're first to that end of the ground. So they just creep that little bit closer. There's still plenty left in this game. Maybe another couple of goals, Andrew Rogers. Maybe they could get the two to get them back in the match fully.
And he breathes some life back into this contest. It's very much a stalemate, just an arm wrestle. We get a look here. Just a handball of sorts, or not of sorts, spotted by the umpire, and a designated kicker for Sturt. We saw Kaysler hand it off, and from well outside 50, it's Matthew Cooper, who's been very instrumental today. He's had a good day today. Gets a goal. Yeah, he's had a good day today. Gets an important goal. Now Sturt with another break out in the middle. Maybe they're mounting their charge.
Infringement by one of the Centrals players. Boundary umpire calling a free kick to Sturt. Here's Hay at half back for Centrals though, clearing the area across to Slade. Slade slips. That's trouble. That's trouble for me. Try taking that quickly. The ball down to Wicks. Wicks cannot take possession, not cleanly anyway. The umpire, Tim Pfeiffer, spotted a free kick. Well, a little bit of aggro in there. Umpire Pfeiffer saying that Steinburner put the knee in. As a result, a free kick to Daniel Wicks. He looks up, goes wide, mistake again. We'll hear from Andrew Rogers in a minute about just how big a mistake that was to go to Weatherall just so wide on the ground.
And I think you've hit the nail right on the head there, Neil. Firstly, you're kicking to Tim Weatherall, who's 5'3". Unknown if he can
take offence to that.
I don't think I've never seen him take an overhead mark in my life. And then you've gone wide to the pocket as well. I think two mistakes there.
Just the 2 goals, the difference. Centrals, though, clearly on scoring shots are ahead, and that could be, well, Marco Bello looked up and said which one of these guys was trying to get the ball out.
If you're Brenton Phillips now, you've got to try to manufacture a goal, and I would actually, for the whole day, Conway's played a kick behind the play and so has Arnold. I would be tempted to throw Conway forward and try to steal a goal and make Arnold accountable for him.
Sturt working hard, Wicks, just paddled the ball back. Now over the ball is Chris Gowans. Somehow it got out to Bello. He's on his natural leg, the left, drives it up long. Quentin Graham made great yards, but couldn't take the ball except on the half volley. On the ground again, fed out. Hopwood off the left leg, scrambled it forward. Denny Stevens holding up Weatherall, then paddles it to his team's advantage, he thought. Just the slippery conditions making it hard. Somehow Slade got a hand pass forward. Maloney goes through and out the other side. And now Weatherall, or rather Stevens, goes head-to-head with Dean Woosnam.
Woosnam's actually picking up one of the Gowans at the moment. That's probably one of my favourite man-on-man contests in the whole league. 2 just rugged men going hard at each other. Good to watch.
Woosnam tries to kick it off the ground. James Gowans didn't have the football, held on too long. 3 was there. Good umpiring.
It's one of those unlucky ones. He had the football, but it was knocked out and then twisted around, and poor Whiteman didn't know that, so holding the man, sorry.
James Gowans relishing being back in the mix today for Centrals. It's a lead from Hereda, who's run off. Good play. Burton got sucked in to the play. Long kick by Hereda to half forward. No one can take the mark. Taken by Kaysler. Kaysler's been handy for the double blues today, but his kick is not handy. Should have gone to Julian Burton, but picked out Hopwood. So that half-back, this very unfashionable player who's terrific for them.
9 marks and 25 possessions today.
Yeah, terrific game by him. Short kick finds Healy. Healy out of side. Kicks along the lines, looking for Bello. Just worked his way into the contest. Well played. Oh, good tackle. Ball just splutters along the ground. Slade just goes with a footy, dives on hands and knees, gets it back to Gowans. That was Chris Gowans, taken by Powell. Powell steadies for the double blues, has no one to kick to, goes for the boundary and finds it.
We could look at more updates. Port Adelaide have really exploded away from North, so ended a disappointing year for North. Glenelg marginally in front of South, and Norwood just seemed to be holding their own against the Eagles. Just Matthew Powell in the midfield, I just thought he might be able to add something in there, maybe a bit of run, maybe something that might just spark the Sturt midfield.
He started out as a midfielder with South Adelaide, Matthew Powell. Came to the double blues in an arrangement I think which suited everybody. And he's been good for the double blues in the back line, and Tim Pfeiffer's picked out a free kick here to Chris Gowans. Looks inside, just off the side of the boot, still found a player in Arnott, the quiet achiever, across to Hopwood. Hopwood goes long, or rather short. He went short to a short player in Slade. Slade, lovely lead, and mark taken by McGowan in the unfamiliar role as, what, a key forward.
Yes, fast leading full forward. The first, but they just worked the ball forward. I think the sign of a really good footballer is Heath Hopwood, week in, week out. He performs week in, week out, and I think that is the sign of a really good footballer. As we see Ricky McGowan with a chance to kick a rare goal, which he
got stage fright. No, just managed to get it in there. Ricky McGowan with the goal. Central steady. McGowan's done everything for this club. He's got 2 best and fairest, a Jack Odie medal in last year's premiership win, and that is not him, that is him, number 23, Ricky McGowan.
Hasn't he been a wonderful servant of the Central District Football Club? Wouldn't like to see him kick from outside 45, Neil. It didn't actually go through goalpost high, but he got the job done, and generally that's what he brings to the Central Districts Football Club. He does get the job done, and that's just the goal that just takes the wind out of the Sturt sail.
Back in the centre, Conway v Schooler, ball locked up in the centre. Kaysler somehow tried to get his way out, lost the foot, he went without it. Umpire will call for another bounce.
As I said, Brenton Phillips has got to try to manufacture some goals from here. Whether he tries something, I mean, he's really got nothing to lose out of today's game now. They're going to play Norwood next week. Let's try something, maybe a mismatch that may work for us come finals time.
Might be a good idea to go direct to goal. Kaysler, left footer, sits it up. Burton just worked out of the contest. Matner in fairly hard. Burton again just diving on the footy, just hovering over it, over that pack.
Tried hard take, Kaysler. 5 kicks, 12 handballs.
Good in and under player today, has done his job.
Certainly missing someone like an Adam Clum as well, who's played in the reserves today. Really need him to, to back and firing.
Yes, that knee injury, very unfortunate to Clun. Wetherill, taken by Campbell, just got a toe poke, only as far as Healy. Healy will mop it up. The handball across to Arnott. Arnott's short kick spots up Swatala. So Swatala from half back, kicks along the lines, looking for Slade. The big little fellow couldn't take the mark. Over the back, Graham does the roving, just throws it on the boot. Wobbly kick, beats everyone. Leading in the race is Threadgold. Will he take it to the boundary? Experience, Whiteman will do that. And the double blues just work it to that boundary. I don't know where those goals are going to come. I don't think they are.
No, I think the time is going to be too late. I don't think Centrals are going to let them get those goals. We can see the sweeper against Simon Arnott. He's the one that plays it. Just a kick behind the play. He's the one, the go-to man if they ever get in trouble.
Great work from Maloney off to Woosnam. Then Woosnam inside to Kaysler. He's worked hard. He's doggedly attacked by Bello. Now it comes clear again. Another opportunity for Sturt to try and clear the area. Matner met by Slade. Now Bello. Bello off the left leg. Good kick. Steinberner in space. Steinberner goes to play on. Wicks shut him down. Now Hopwood has still got players over. Here's Gowans, James. James to his brother Chris. And Chris turns it around the corner against the better advice of Andrew Rogers and kicks a goal.
It's just weight of numbers there for Central Sturt. Once they turn the ball over in the midfield, a very ambitious handball by Dean Woosnam. Perhaps trying to make something happen. Central's assumed ascendancy of the ball. Weight of numbers, they eventually come forward. You see the Gowans twins once again working together. Does turn the footy. Look, highly skilled players can actually do it and do it well. Darren Jarman, a very exception to the rule. And you can see they finish it. As I said, all the wind's gone out of the sail, all the intensity's gone out of the game now. Central's going to come away for a comfortable victory.
Good break now to Centrals. 24 points.
Chris Gowans showing his shorter runs, only had 17 possessions compared to James's 27.
Yep. Both of them have been ball magnets today, that's for sure. They've been at the bottom of every pack. Schooler got it down. Matner still in the centre of the ground. So how do you read this for Sturt going into the finals, Andrew?
I think Norwood are the real serious challenger. I think we've seen Norwood topple them twice during the year. And I really think they are the two sides that are in the best form currently to actually play off in the grand final.
Yeah, it's interesting that Sturt have just been unable to get the better of Centrals this year and be a real genuine premiership threat. And I think I have to agree with you. Norwood may be the ones to cause it. They've beaten Centrals a couple of occasions this year. Maloney tries to get it forward. Hereda, who's been quite outstanding this afternoon. Handball wasn't good, goes to Sheedy. Sheedy loads it up, looking for a teammate there in Thurston's. Now a free kick will go to Centrals. Will it go to Hicks? So Hicks will get the free kick. He's been a steady defender. Just lopes away. Plenty of talent this half back from Centrals. Long kick looking for Chris Gowans. Gowans marks outer side of the ground. Has a player on in Bello. Kick has to be good. It is weighted well, and Bello, who's pretty good overhead for a little fella, takes the mark, pushes off, plenty of pace, handball across, Geister, he's got to push off a couple, he does, handball inboard, they go down the corridor, this is the Central District we know, they kick inside 50, long kick but getting in front, thread goal, no free kick, Slade, slung off the footy, McGowan in hard, and a free kick, a high tackle will go, it'll go to Centrals, and it'll go to Rick McGowan, who kicked the goal just a few moments ago, will line up from 35, round 40, and may kick his second.
Just a little bit clumsy there by Chris Edgrove. Umpires are looking for that. Ricky McGowan's had the courage to put his head down, stay over the footy. Chris Edgrove, unfortunately, has barged into him, and a free kick's been given, and Ricky McGowan with a chance now. Let's hope the wind doesn't spring up here, or he mightn't be an opportunity to kick this goal.
23 possessions to McGowan from 40. Just shanks it to the right. Maloney just gets a fingernail on, so it doesn't go through for a score. Campbell is there, ball in dispute. Going through was Graham, got slung away. Steinburner v Wicks. Steinburner thought he scooped it up as a throw. Umpire blew the whistle and said, yes, it was a throw. So the free kick will be taken by Wicks.
Fairly late reaction there from the umpire, but he did get the correct call out eventually. 24 points to the margin, approaching the 24-minute mark of the final term here at Elizabeth. Next week, major round, different story. Double Blues will face Norwood in the qualifying final. Centrals have the week off, and the Eagles will play Westies in the elimination final. Here's Arnott closing to 50, kicks the ball in high. Here's an interesting contest. Stevens opposed to Threadgold, who had the better of it. Stevens had the better of it on the ground. Off to Chris Gowans. Wicks doubles back for the Double Blues, takes the mark. He's kicked, oh dear, that was pretty awful. In the end, just too high for Whiteman. Arnott showing all that experience, lines it up. His kick was perfect. Play on, goal. Well done, Centrals. Yes, just so efficient going forward, and they capitalised on the mistake, the doggies. And Michael Stevens has 3 goals to his credit this afternoon.
And as you said, Neil, they really do make you pay for your mistakes. And you see just the missed target, Whiteman just let this go through his hand. Once again, Simon Arnott, who once again doesn't get many of the accolades, finishes off with a beautiful kick to the top of the square. And Michael Stevens just takes a nice clean grab, gets helped on his way there by Dean Woosnam, finishes off with quite a simple goal, and what's turning out to be quite an emphatic victory for Central Districts.
That pass from, what's his name? Arnott, Simon Arnott, with his 25th kick of the day. He's had 5 handballs as well.
Been terrific, Simon Arnott. Bickies been just a wonderful player for them. They need 5 goals lead to Centrals. Ball back in the centre. Double Blues could do with a handy one late. It's going to come all too late though. Centrals have this one well and truly in the bag. The 25.5-minute mark. Sheedy, who's just flashed in and out of the game today, Jade Sheedy. Hasn't had that consistent 4-quarter performance that we know he can produce. Up goes the footy. No one can get any sort of possession. Chris Gowans tries to force his way through. Wicks got the football, laid it off. Matner couldn't grab it. Certainly grabs a Central Districts player and knocks him to the ground. A bit of push and shove. We'll wait and see who comes up from that particular foray.
Certainly hadn't lowered his colours today. Martin Matner's been very hard at the footy. Certainly tackling is a feature of his game, and certainly on the courage point of view, he leaves nothing leaves nothing to be desired.
No, when they get tackled by Matner, they stay tackled, that's for sure. Ugly pack of players. Over the top, comes to that man Matner. He'll have to lay it off by hand. He does to Kaysler. Kaysler gets it to Wetherill. Wetherill nowhere to go at all. They crash through. That looks like Woosnam up there, up forward. He's tackled by Swatala and James Gowans and will have a bounce.
So it's really hard to see a flaw in the Central District's machine, isn't it? You look at their back line, their forward line, their on-ballers are the best in the competition. While at full strength, they're certainly going to be hard to beat.
The competition in close. Sturt working hard to try and get a slick hand pass out. Central just working hard. Here's Burton. Got in the direction of Maloney off his left leg, just plants it inside 50. Arnott read it first and best, but couldn't trap the ball. White, good hand pass off to Chambers. Chambers did well to get it to Cooper. Cooper trapped. Great tackle by Swatala. Will get another bounce down. And interesting between these two sides, the margin in round 6 was 38 points. Central's won it in round 15 by 50, and here in round 23, it's Central District by 30 points.
Yes, and Central District's once again proving that they are the best team in the competition. They certainly have it over Sturt mentally. They play different types of brands. Actually thought Elizabeth Oval would have suited Sturt a little bit more today, but unfortunately for them, Centrals have proven too good once again. Too many in and under players, too tough around the football, and just their decision making is a little bit too good for Sturt. So Sturt have now got 2 or 3 weeks to get the process right and to get some players in some good form and seriously challenge Central's come finals time.
It'll be very interesting just to see the progress of the Sturt side through the finals, because obviously under Brenton Phillips they've made some steps forward and they still have a distance to go.
I really believe early in the year when the coach is new and fresh and the grounds were nice and dry, they've certainly played their best football. Certainly as the years went on, they've obviously got some injuries, but they've also got tighter. They haven't been as fluent and as efficient as they go forward, and I really think that they're not probably peaking at the right time of the year.
Well, that could be the way. We'll just, of course, have to wait and see. But as we see the Central side coming off the ground, Michael Parsons, you might see just to the right of camera there in the midst, looking for an interview, and he's talking to Heath Hopwood, and we'll get to him in just a moment. But certainly the Central's fans out here, every reason to feel happy going into the final series as we go down to Michael.
Heath, long season, but you've ended up on top. Is it something that you've been aiming for a number of weeks?
Oh, definitely. The place to finish is obviously on top because you need to win one more game to get into the big one. So certainly that's what we've been aiming for, top 3, and to get the top spot was fantastic.
A rest last week with a bye, another rest next week. As a player, would you rather keep playing week in, week out, or would you look forward to the rest at this time of the year?
No, rest is good. I mean, if Clarker thinks we need to hit out, we'll have a scratchy on Saturday, so there's no problems. If we need match practice, we'll get it, but I think the rest would be good for some of the guys.
And talking about hit out, hit the noggin on the side of the fence. How did you pull up after that one?
Yeah, back's a little bit sore, but I guess these things happen, don't they? So.
That's right. And you also had a bit of a hobble around early in the game. Did you find it a physically tough game today?
Yeah, it was pretty physical, actually. I thought there'd be a lot more open space than there was, but certainly when the rain came in, it made it a lot more scrappy, and certainly Sturt are a good tackling side as well.
And so you guys down back, pretty settled back 6 for Central Districts. Must be a good feeling back there knowing that you've got control and it runs out pretty well.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's good to play with similar guys each week. You really get to read them and know who's going to help out and who's going to turn which way. So it's certainly an advantage like that.
Again, congratulations to Central's ending up as minor premiers, and congratulations to yourself. A fantastic game today.
Thanks a lot, Mike.